You're listening to RuneScape Weekly for September 15th, 2018. I'm your host, Hannah, with like 15 years, 16 years of RuneScape experience or something like that. Who knows? It's a long time. Joining me today are the RR Man and Pernasius. And on today's show, we were talking about Rune High Scores, the RuneScape soundtrack, Jagex 2017's financial statement, Mayan and Smithing Showcase, TLDW patch notes teaser for September 14th. Why is mobilizing armies still in the game? Can we stop judging content on the first day of release? RS will die without PvP. Any hope for PvP? And best update of the year so far. And without further ado, let's hop into the show. RR Man, what have you been up to in RuneScape? Have you been enjoying the Player on Farms update?
Oh yeah, I gotta say it's one of the best updates of the year in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's beyond the year. I actually tweeted Mod Raven saying I think it's probably the best scaling update since construction first came out. Like I can't think of a better scaling update. It is, but like sure, we've had scaling XP updates for a long time, and some of those are super nice. Like yeah, I really like the safe cracking and all that stuff, but it's not as in depth as this update. This update has so much depth to it, and it has so much like variety to it in what you're doing. And yeah, I think they just nailed like every aspect to it, where it's not just like a new way to level a skill. It almost feels like it's entirely own skill. Like, you know, maybe only about like 50% of its skill, but you know, when you get a new training method, that's like 5% of its skill, whereas this thing feels like it's basically the other half that farming needed. And it's funny because honestly, I never said this, but I felt like this update was going to be really crappy, and they completely blew my expectations out of the water. What about you, Pernasius? What have you been up
to? Yeah, basically since its release, farming. Love this new farming update, and as you said, I didn't really have high hopes myself. I thought it was going to be sort of a bit like a sort of miscellanea, a very sort of AFK-ish type thing, and it is AFK, but it's very interactive as well, and I'm absolutely loving it. And yeah, totally agree. Best update I've seen in a while. What I love about it as well, it's not a replacement of the farming skill. You know, it's an enhancement of it. It's a great supplement to it that doesn't sort of replace any of your current training methods. It just adds to what you can do on a farming run and such. So just gives a lot more interactivity. I don't think they've done anything wrong with it. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and I think I totally agree with you. Like, there's some people who are complaining that like, oh, this is a Dailyscape update, which I think the community has gone so far beyond complaining about Dailyscape. It's just silly at this point. Like, it's just a catchphrase you throw out when you don't like something.
But it's not Dailyscape, because as I said, you can go there once and then not go there for a week. You haven't lost anything. You can click on them. They've all still grown. You go through each individual sort of growth cycle and such. So if you only want to go there every 3 or 4 days, you can, and you're not missing out on anything.
The biggest
I do
problem,
it daily because I just love it.
Yeah, and the biggest problem comes down to people feeling like they have to min-max. I mean, it's like, to me, Dailyscape means specific things. It means like the only way to train, like it means like what are they called, sinkholes, or it means Asphyxian caches, where like you can only do it at a specific time. You can only do a certain number a day, and if you don't stick to that rigid schedule, then you're missing like the best XP in the game.
Yep.
Whereas this update is like, yeah, sure, if you want to min-max it, you gotta log in like every 16 hours or something like that. But that's the way farming's always been. Like, if you want to min-max growing trees for farming, you gotta log in that much too.
Yep.
Well, that's the funny thing about this. The best way to get XP in this is actually to wait longer, because you get more XP when the animals get to Elder. So it's not Dailyscape at all. It's the opposite.
That's right. And as you said, with your trees, you've got to log in at that time. You want to get the maximum herbs you can in a day. You've got to do it every 80 minutes, and things like that. So no, I really love it. It's a great update. I'm working on. I haven't done one for a while, but a Pern's point of view video, which hopefully I'll have out this week. talking about the farming update. So look forward to that. That'll be either on my YouTube channel, and a few days after that, it will be up on RuneScape Weekly as well for those who sort of just like to listen to it via podcast.
Yeah, and I imagine. Well, I know that MageBit really wants to do a in-depth show on Player on Farm, so I imagine we'll probably get to that at some point. MageBit's been busy with his personal life stuff and not feeling the greatest, so he hasn't been around. There's a chance that he'll join us later in the show. Like sometimes he's able to when he starts feeling better. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, that's why it's the three of us hosting a show, and I imagine at some point in the next few weeks or months here we'll probably do a Player on Farms extravaganza. But as it stands right now, I can't see another update in 2018. Like, honestly, I could pick best update of the year right now, which is funny because I think that's a topic later. But, like, I don't see another update coming out this year that's going to be better. Because it's not even, like obviously, I haven't interacted with the farm side of it that much. I've mostly been farming eggs. I spent, 70 hours at Black Dragons and gotten, 31 eggs and made a crap ton of GP off of that, so that's been great for me. But just like I said, I love all the sides of it. Like, I love the fact that not every animal for the farm comes from the same place. You get some from skilling, you get some from PVM, all that type of stuff. It's a great balance, and they've done some great quality of life changes so far, but they haven't gone too far and broken it basically.
And there's people actually at Yaks again. When I first started this game back in 2011, Yaks was one of the best places to go to sort of get your combat skills up. And then, sort of after EOC, you just never saw anyone there. Now you sort of go up to Relica onto the Nayatisnot Island. There's actually people there.
Yeah, that's the coolest thing too. Actually, you bring up. It's not just there, but you go to just go into the player on farm and it's packed. And how long has it been when you've played an update and there's just people everywhere and people are actually talking to each other because you have to trade animals and stuff like that. And also the update was so complicated. The first few days people didn't know what they were supposed to do, so people were talking in game what am I supposed to be doing here? And that was something that the update was kind of getting roasted for. But I love that. I love this idea that we did not know the minute details of this update until we talked to other people in the community and learned them, and that's something that has really been missing.
I was going to say that is exactly what this game is perfect, or this update is perfect for. It's learning, it's exploration, it's what is going to be the best. How am I going to get this? Trying to work everything out, and it's not all just written there. Someone's done it in a day, and then there's a full guide already on the wiki. I mean, it's taken a couple of weeks to get everything done, and I still think there's probably best way to do things is we're probably still going to find out sort of new things as we go forward.
Yeah, I was really angry the first couple of days with the subreddit was just full of posts being this update's too complicated, and I was how are we living in a world where a RuneScape update can be too complicated? I just don't get it. This is the whole point. It's why I say this is the best update since construction is because it's so complicated. Give me in-depth updates like this that I don't understand at first. And yeah, I mean, if you don't want to, the thing is, the way it's always been in RS, if a new update comes out, it's too complicated for you, then just don't play it for 2 weeks. And like you said, a guide will be written, and you won't have to understand anything. That's how I trained Invention. I wasn't there at the forefront of it, and Invention's another update that was super complicated. I don't really count it as a skilling update because it was a mixture update. It was a PVM and skilling update, and it really at launch it was a PVM update. Let's be honest.
Well, yeah, it was Slayer 2.0 at launch.
Yeah, so they've made it a skilling update now, but even so, like I said, player on farms just feels like a skilly, it's a skiller exclusive update. Obviously, it augments PVM in some ways, but it feels like participating in the farm is skiller exclusive in many ways.
But it also gives people who, I mean, you are a PVMer, that's fine. But if someone is out there who is just a skiller, I mean, killing dragons, whether it's blue, green, red, or black, isn't that hard. And those eggs were selling for, good money. And once you start breeding them and you can sort of sell the offspring that have got the right traits and such, I think World 2 has got a great market going at the moment. So if anyone is trying to sell them, just head down there. The update that they put in this week where using your beans, obviously we just had the one breeding pen at the time, but one of this week's updates was that they for beans, you can sort of buy and make all of the pens breeding pens. Now, obviously, in the proper breeding pen, you have a higher chance of them breeding than you do in the sort of other pens. But it is. I can't fault the update. Now, I know a few people were complaining about not enough animal types there. I think there's more than enough for this stage. Perhaps, maybe you could have put in some of those warped tortoises for the shells, maybe some unicorns, but I don't think that was really necessary. I think they've got more than enough animals at the moment.
And don't forget, I'm pretty sure one of the live streams I did a while back, they mentioned that they designed it in a way where it was very easy to add more animals. So I'm sure
exactly
that they'll do more in the future.
Great little
especially
rewards,
with the success of the update, I think you're right. They said like a big part of it would be like, if this update's received well, then we'll add a part 2 or whatever. And obviously, I imagine when the part 2 comes out, people are like, oh, a batched update. But this isn't a batched update. It's done in its current state. It's just there's room to expand it. And yeah, I agree. Like I would expansion.
Room to put in a greenhouse.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree that. I think that they did it right. Like there's not a ton of animals, and sure, more would be nice, but I would rather have the amount we do where they each have like their own minutia, and they have like a real effect on how on how the whole thing works, and the whole update feels bigger because they basically focus on a few things instead of adding like 100 different things, and then all of them are kind of just meh. It's better when you.
Yep.
When you can focus on a few and get a more quality ground-based update built. Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, my biggest complaint about it probably is I feel like it doesn't really fit in Arty. Like, it's so big.
Yeah.
Like
it's virtually as big as the whole town.
Yeah, it really is. And the landscaping looks a bit weird. And there's also, like, zero room for expansion. I guess if they... They obviously think they have like a second floor that's not been added to, so they could do something there. But it feels like if they ever really wanted to expand, they'd have to move it to a different place in the game, or just add a different part of the farm, which I'd be okay with. Like I honestly kind of wished if they had maybe done that with this update, where like one or two of the pens were in like different areas. Like one's outside of like Sears Village or something. Spread it out a little bit more. Obviously, Arty's already close to Sears, but like between Sears and Catherby, or something like that, but it's not. It's not a major.
Yeah, well, I mean, my thing, I still stick to my original thought of just mobilizing armies, entire area down there, and make that one big farm. But anyway,
yeah, that would have worked. That would have worked too.
Yeah,
most definitely. All right, well, let's hop into the first topic of the day, the RuneScore high scores. You want to go ahead and read that one?
And this come to us now. For some reason, it's got the 7th of September, which wasn't Monday. Monday was actually the 10th. So I don't know if it was done a few days early or if they just got the dates wrong. But anyway,
I imagine
this week.
I imagine what they did was they probably wrote the update on the 7th. They probably wrote, and then forgot to change the date when they posted it.
Yes, exactly. Basically. Also, just to let everyone know, Patch Notes now is its own separate podcast. So, again, you can find that on RuneScape Weekly if you want to hear in-depth all the patches. But let's get into these high scores. So, how's the farming going? We're chuffed to see so many of you getting stuck into the Player-Owned Farms update. It's been great hearing about players shoveling endless amounts of poo and breeding all sorts of wonderfully characterful animals. Camilla the hen, who longs to capture humans and selectively breed them for fun and profit, is a particular favourite. And rest assured, where there have been gripes, we've heard you loud and clear, and we're in the process of rolling out some updates to Granny Potterington's estate. In fact, we have a shed load of patches for your farm this week. In the meantime, however, we're about to get super competitive with the arrival of RuneScore charts on the high score pages. It's time to sort the wheat from the chaff, as Granny might say. Did you know that almost every achievement in the game will add to your RuneScore? Smaller achievements will only add a little, but the big ones will give you a huge boost. As of right now, there are 1,980 in-game achievements, representing a possible RuneScore total of 21,840.
Oh, man. If I can cut in there for a second, if you don't mind.
Yep.
It's so cool that no one is actually at that number at the moment.
No, that's it.
You can actually be number one. There's a race to number one.
Yeah, and it's going to be, it's dynamic. It's because they're always adding new achievements. So you're always going to be able to sort of keep going and moving up. I'm at about 16,500 points at the moment. Points, and I think I've got about 1,600 achievements done. So,
yeah, they'll every update this will be a competition against you get to the top, just like it was back in the day, going for 99s and high scores as well. And as we have all, I think, lamented on the podcast, it's no longer a thing because you just buy so much XP that 5.4 bill is just there's no competition there anymore like there used to be. And also the game is so old. I don't even know if it's completely tied to selling XP. Like even if the game didn't sell XP, it's so old that there's really no competition. Like you're not gonna beat someone unless they've quit the game and a new skill comes out. That's the only way you're gonna beat someone in the high scores. And yeah, I think MageBit brought up that like he actually brought this idea up on like possibly the last show that we did or a couple shows before that, and I kind of thought that they would never do it because there's no way to sell this update, but they actually proved me wrong and did it, and that's actually really, really cool of them to put this update out there.
Yeah, back when it was actually originally done, Mage said back then he wants to see an actual high scores thing with this. So there you are, Mage. It's there for you. Anyway, we added RuneScore to the game back on August 29th, 2017. So now we're a year down the line, and it's time to spice it up a little. So Monday just gone, a RuneScore tab will be added to the high scores page on the official RuneScape website. This means you'll not only see who has the highest RuneScore, but also how far ahead you are of your friends, or how much further you have to go to catch them. We're adding achievements to the game all the time, so this should give players plenty of opportunity to tussle for that top spot. So that was basically the only update we got this week. And again, what annoyed me was people complaining, is this all we've got after sort of last week? we got the player-owned farms update. Such a massive update.
They can't do a patch week anymore without getting shit for it, and it's ridiculous.
One, I mean, for the quality of the updates that sort of have to come in with the graphics and all that type of thing. I mean, if we get one decent update a month, and the rest are just sort of little ones like this type of thing, when we had the clan updates and things like that, I think I think they've done enough. One good-sized update. What I am missing, though, is sort of last year when they did tell us we were going to get between 6 and 8 quests this year. I think we've only had 3 so far. So that pretty much means we'll need 1 quest a week for the next 3 months.
I think it's been 2, actually, from what I remember. Isn't it?
Only 2, is it? Yeah, well, that's...
I think. But yeah.
The You Are It one, the Evil Dave one. Actually, I think you're right. I think they're the only 2.
Well, I guess the pirate was... Wasn't the Evil Dave... Was the Evil Dave one this year? I guess it was.
Or was that the end of last year?
Yeah, I can't remember at this point. But yeah, maybe it was 3. 2 or 3, whichever. But yeah, I was actually going to say, when we wrote that up, that's like the one side of the community I can understand. Like, quests are definitely lacking. I mean, I think it's because, like, the community claims that they don't want epic quests anymore, but I imagine it would be a problem. Like, if we got short, weird quests like used to happen back in the day, like, I think that there would be kind of an outrage over it. Personally, I would kind of love to see, like, I would love to see more throwback quests. Like, I was thinking about, like the other month on my stream, I was exploring Underground Pass because I had to do some achievements out there, and I was like, I would love a quest that, like, paid homage to, like, quests from this era that were, like, so complicated. Yeah, so complicated and so many weird little things you had to do, and like we don't like quests feel way more epic now, but they're missing that like just weird little crap that you have to find or figure out in them. And it would be cool to see kind of even if they were short quests, but requests to kind of go back to that kind of era.
Well, that was one thing that I was sort of saying. I don't know if I actually mentioned it on here or not, because it's been a while since I've been on. But like when they had to delay Elite Dungeons 2 and things like that, I sort of think they should have just a couple of those bottle quests, which only take a couple of weeks to get done because they're using all the assets in game. So it's mainly just sort of a storyboarding thing. And just be able to drop, when they are having a slow month or things like that, they can just drop one of those in just to sort of appease players, and they add to that quest tally. I mean, I mean, I know we're what are we sitting on? 399 quest points now, I think it is.
Yeah.
So I know that I know obviously the 400th quest point is. I mean, they've got some drama about that.
I don't know why though. It's kind of irrelevant.
Yeah, I think that is actually written into the spaghetti code the way that somehow works.
That feels like the biggest reason they haven't given us a quest, but I think it's because from what they said, because remember it's been 2 years now because it was the Gower quest. The Gower quest was originally supposed to get us the 400 quest points. When they changed it because they were like, it unlocks all these rewards. Like I think you get like a new Slayer creature on your block list or whatever. Isn't that tied to quest points?
Yes, and there's that new little wolf dragon creature that we get at 400 points from that Carnelian Rising quest.
Yeah, so like there's all this stuff that they've tied into the quest point shop, and like we don't want to go to 400 points yet, but it really feels like that's what's keeping them from doing quests. And if that's true, they just need to freaking get it figured out already.
Yeah, that's it. Because I mean, I love my quests, and that if I can sort of say if I'm disappointed about anything this year, it is basically that. Yes, we did have sort of a quiet sort of July, August, but I mean after what people need to sort of also remember is that first 6 months of the year, how big it was, how they hit that mark every time. And, when we knew they were doing this big sort of farming update, and I was not expecting that to be out this early. When they announced it, I was not expecting that to be a September update. And, and they got it out for the start of September. And I mean, it is brilliant. I mean, they have really, really hit the nail on the head. So anyway, that's probably enough about sort of going on about all that. We moved from RuneScore into giving them all a pat on the back for everything. But yeah, so if you are there, go and check out that high scores. See what you can do up there and see how high you can get. I mean, there are fun. If you log into the game and you just don't know what you want to do, click onto the achievements. That's what I do sometimes. What am I going to do? I don't really feel like doing much. I'll click onto the achievements and see if there's something I can just go and unlock and have a bit of fun with. And that's that's what it's all about, just exploring and having fun. So get out there and do that.
Yeah, achievements are cool, especially if you haven't been to an area in a long time. You have to do achievements there. That was the one cool thing about doing the achievements in the Elflands, like I was talking about. Like I went to the Underground Pass for probably the first time in literally 10 years at least since I had been there. So it was like a complete nostalgia trip just to go back there for the first time in forever and see everything. Testic in chat, by the way, says that Evil Dave's Quest came out on November 27th of 2017. So. Yeah.
Oh wow, there you go. So 2 quests this year. I remember because we had that update to the book, so maybe that was I was thinking about because that came out this year. But yeah, it's so that sort of that's the one thing that sort of disappoints me on this year is that. But other than that, I would sort of I think they've done a remarkable job this year. So I know sort of we are critical of them sometimes with different things, but I think that is sort of one thing we sort of do have to give them this year.
Yeah, and with what you're talking about having bottle quests ready to go, I think they do have a lot of content in the backlog, not quests specifically, but I noticed we got the clan update I think last month, which was clearly something that was basically done but had to be QA tested, so they they put that up. This coming week we're going to read patch notes later, but it's clear that a bunch of stuff from this patch notes teaser was probably done a long time ago, and they finally got a chance to QA it. There's some amazing changes coming to the GE, and we'll read about them later in the show instead of right now. But yeah, I think they are in some ways trying to get their backlog of updates out to kind of fill in the space and make people feel happier. But even so, it's like people aren't okay with a patch week.
Just stop whinging.
Yeah. Some of my favorite updates honestly come from patch notes, and that's not because they don't put out good updates, but it's because quality of life stuff can have such a giant effect on how you play the game day to day that a tiny quality of life update can change how you're looking at the game.
Quality of life.
That's exactly. Just one little thing that they can do is one of the updates they did where now with the people sort of complaining about how hard it was to breed, bang, in the patch notes, okay, with beans now you can unlock a bunch of others.
Yeah, a bunch of other pens. Yeah, and it was a great way to do it too, because I was really worried that they were gonna like increase the breeding rate by a lot or increase the drop rate of eggs, which I would have hated because I think that having the eggs be kind of rare. Like I think in like 6 months, like Black Dragons right now, eggs cost like 18 to 20 mil. And you can get one like every 2 or 3 hours, and sometimes longer. I've gone like 8 hours dry. It's or even 10 hours dry. It happens, but I imagine that like there's a chance that like in 6 months, dragon eggs are still worth like 5 mil. So if you're like a low level player and you're doing a Black Dragons task and you just randomly get 5 mil, that could be like a nice big GP boost for a player who doesn't have many ways to make money. And I think that's kind of a cool.
That's it.
Cool way to keep
Imagine
rarity.
if while you're doing it on task, you've got sort of an extra 25% chance of getting the egg, or something like that. For those lower level players,
it's not a thing.
No, not a thing. But I mean, for those in the future, sort of once things have settled down, that'd be a great little update that they could put in there for, as you said, for those lower level players when they're doing that type of thing.
Yeah, something like that could definitely be nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, so that is it.
We can move on to the next
and one
topic.
thing. I just want to point out one thing that I sort of complained about a little while ago when we talk about the clue scrolls and just having a quicker access to the observatory. One of the ninja fixes this week. So after you have done the observatory quest, players now have access to a quicker way to get back to the observatory. So you don't have to just run through that entire maze underneath. If you are doing sort of those, I think they're medium clue scrolls. So, just little things like that. As you said, they're great little things that they sort of add there. So anyway, that is it for the updates. We will move on to the next topic, and that is that the RuneScape soundtrack is now available. You can get it on vinyl, CD, or via streaming. We're really excited about this one. We know that having an easy way to listen to the music of RuneScape has been really high up on a lot of wish lists. We've seen all the custom YouTube playlists. So we're delighted to announce the upcoming release of 2 new RuneScape albums. We have partnered up with the video game soundtrack specialist Laced Records to release 2 albums that are available to pre-order, both on double deluxe vinyl and CD now. RuneScape, the Orchestral Collection, and RuneScape Original Soundtrack Classics. Both of these albums are also available digitally, plus buying either physical version also includes the digital copy. As if this weren't enough, also available digitally right now are the soundtracks to the Ark and Menaphos. We have more collections on the way over the next few months as well. So the RuneScape, the Orchestral Collection, features new classical music and new arrangements by BAFTA award-winning composer James Hannigan of Harry Potter, Command & Conquer, and Dead Space 3 fame. The new tracks were recorded with the Philharmonica Orchestra at the world-renowned Abbey Road Studios in December 2017. Also included on the album are tracks that James recorded with the Slovak National Symphony Orchestra in 2012.
Checking out. They have videos on YouTube of like them recording some of those soundtracks with the full orchestra. Oh, it's amazing. Tracks sound so good. All these remasters and stuff. It's really cool. The quality that they put into this work. Totally worth listening to, even if you're like, oh, I've heard these songs in game. Like they really put a lot of effort into making them sound bigger than they have in game.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they'll sound a lot different this way than they would in game.
Talking about nostalgia, though, I was like, there's a couple of them like Newbie Melody and like the original RuneScape theme and stuff, and I was like, oh man.
Actually, that's what I should probably do. That I should probably purchase that, and when I start getting back into my streaming, just have that running in the background as
music. Yes,
because it is RuneScape music, so I shouldn't get banned for that. Okay, the RuneScape Original Soundtrack Classics, meanwhile, takes a much more nostalgic journey through some of the most loved tracks from old school RuneScape and the early days of RuneScape. The digital and CD versions include an additional 19 bonus tracks, which vinyl buyers will receive digitally. And remember, you can experience tracks from the Orchestral Collection being performed live by none other than the Royal Philharmonic Concert Orchestra at RuneFest, live at RuneScape 2018 on October 5th. Book your tickets. Whether you're interested in buying the gorgeous, we're sure you agree, physical versions or just after a way to stream RuneScape music from Spotify or other services. We hope you're as excited as we are about being able to enjoy RuneScape's Guinness World Record-breaking score while on the move, doing the housework, or lounging about. And there are links there where you can go and sort of check it out and order them and such. So, get out there and do that if you do love their music.
Yeah, they're on Spotify and stuff as well. So if you have a subscription, I think they're on like all the streaming services, so probably Apple Music as well too, Google Play.
One other thing I do want to point out, where I was just saying about playing that music, they do have a note down the bottom. Fret not, content makers. The soundtrack release should not affect anyone's ability to use RuneScape music in streams or on YouTube videos. Quite the opposite, in fact. If you have any issues at all with using our music, then please let us know at community@jagex.com. So if you do sort of get your videos muted or anything like that, let Jagex know, and obviously they will get that fixed up for you. So awesome. Kudos, Jagex. Cool. That is absolutely awesome. So definitely, I am going to purchase those. So then, when I am streaming, I can play some of those for everyone listening in the background. So that is it.
Hell yeah!
What's your favorite song in game?
Probably what's the OG intro soundtrack called? I don't even remember. Probably that one.
Yeah,
I think it's just called RuneScape theme on the soundtrack. Yeah,
that's probably my favorite.
Yeah, I love the Guthix Memorial with the orchestra, but probably as the quirkiest one is the one from the Gower quest when we went down into the sort of the behind the scenes area. That really bouncy track down there.
Yeah, that was a good one as well.
Yeah, that was excellent, that one.
They have a lot of good music. My least favorite is the God Wars 2 theme. Not gonna lie. The theme just gets to me. I've heard it too much.
Well, that can, that's like a lot of these modern songs that they play these days. Like, you hear and go, that's not too bad, and then the radio plays them like every single hour, day after day after day. It's like, okay, I'm sick of that now.
See, I probably haven't heard that one because, like most people these days, we mute the music.
Yeah, well, maybe you should stop being a barbarian and unmute your music for once and enjoy the game.
I got the RuneScape Weekly podcast to be listening to, buddy.
Okay, moving on to our next topic, and this is the Jagex 2017 financial statements. There's an actual link there to the full financial statements. The website also has their previous filings. Looking at it quickly, here are some of the numbers that stood out. 84.9 million, 74.4 million in revenue, as opposed to 2017 to 2016. In 2017, 53 million came from RS3, 32 million from Old School, 29.3 million in microtransaction revenue. Last year, they did 28.1 million in profit. This year, 44.4 million. This year, 2.315 million subscribers, as opposed to last year, 2.082 million subscribers. So for all you people saying RuneScape's dead, everyone's leaving, that's greater than 10% increase over the 12 months.
Yeah, thanks, Old School, for all the new players.
And last year, there were 323 people working for Jagex. This year, we have 307 people. So I lost about 15 staff members.
Yeah. And those numbers where RS appears to make more money, I believe that is because of MTX being including bonds. So we don't know how much MTX revenue belongs to Old School RuneScape, basically, because they don't separate that out. So
yeah.
I imagine the games probably both make about the same amount of money. As much as people like to act like they don't, they probably do.
And also, when you sort of think about it, I mean, when you subscribe to both games. There are a lot of people who do sort of dabble in both games. And obviously with the mobile release, the beta being open and such, they've sort of attracted a lot more people. what has annoyed me. Has anyone seen any of the adverts for on some of the sites for RuneScape Mobile coming in October?
Nope, I have not.
You haven't? Okay, they're not saying old school RuneScape is coming. They are saying RuneScape is coming.
Yep.
Now, the official ongoing game of RuneScape itself is RS3. Old School is a spin-off that they did and is called Old School RuneScape, and that's sort of I'm really disappointed that they have advertised it that way. They should be advertised as Old School RuneScape, and letting people know that there are two versions of the game.
Yeah, it really feels like with mobile that Jagex is considering RuneScape to be secondary now, because like releasing Old School mobile first, just in general was like, it really frustrates me. Like I'm not someone who's like a doomsayer and thinks that RuneScape is near death or anything, but I think that like RuneScape mobile had a major chance to help out the game, and I think the way they've done it, the way they're marketing it, the fact they're releasing OS mobile first, they should have released both versions of the game on mobile at the same time.
Simultaneously.
Yep. They should have, even if one was finished, they should have delayed it until the other one was done. I don't care which one you worked on first. That's just how to be responsible. But they are basically giving Old School a player base boost that RuneScape will not see, because the hype will have died down. People have already tried it out, and yeah, it's a shame that they're doing it this way.
Sorry, you go first.
No, you go first.
I was just going. It seems like it's one of those situations where it's sort of like a short-term gain. Like, hey, they can get Old School RuneScape out faster because it's different, a smaller game sort of thing, easy to program, that sort of stuff. But in the long term, they're going to make a lot less money by not having RuneScape full stop out.
That's exactly what I was going to say, because the microtransactions, and as it shows there, last year, microtransactions, you paid 29.3 million. As you say, we don't know what is.
Well, it's almost half their revenue, right? They made 84 million total, and 29 million came from microtransactions. So that's like 40%, 45% of the revenue, something like that.
And mobile is designed to make. I mean, people who play mobile have sort of a totally different outlook on MTX transactions compared to the rest of us who sort of sit there and play at their laptops and desktops and such. Old School doesn't want to have MTX, but I really think if that's the way it's going to go, it'll be sooner rather than later that you will see MTX over there, and I don't know. It just seems to be that Mod Pips, the CEO of the company, just seems to sort of have this favoritism towards Old School with what happens and the way things go sometimes.
Yeah, at least we still have more people working on our game, and we get better updates, so it's okay.
Well, that's it. Yes.
But yeah, I'm being a bit facetious there, but I do really feel like it does feel like they have put RuneScape as a secondary game, which I understand. Yep. The player base is smaller now. But like, you should be worried about the player base of both games. Like even when Old School was the game that was behind, which wasn't that long ago. It was only like 3 years ago. Like you should be trying to build up both games, not trying to build one over the other. In my opinion, and yeah. Hopefully, I don't know. The mobile, like, there's not going to be another release as big as mobile. I mean, unless they bring RuneScape to the Switch, which who the hell knows? Maybe they will. There's not going to be a big release like this ever again in the history of the game. Like, mobile is actually, even if they brought it to the Switch, mobile is the single biggest computing platform there is. There's no way to bring it to another platform that's bigger and gonna have more of an impact. So, yeah. It's unfortunate to see, but I guess this is where you live when you're the redheaded stepchild that RuneScape is.
That's it. Yeah, and I mean we joke and laugh about it, but that's really it seems to be that's how they're sort of treating the game.
I also think it's short-sighted because I mean, like, I know Old School is popular now, and I know that it probably will be for years to come, but just looking at it numbers-wise, you have a game that has been out for 17 years and has maintained a level of popularity, and then you have another game that has been out for, like, 6 years now that Old School has been out, you don't bet on the game that's been out for less time. Like I don't know that old school's popularity holds forever, unless they, like I said before, at some point they're gonna have to rewrite the client and give it better graphics and actually get off the Java client and those things.
At some point,
well, Java is going free. That's it. And yeah, again, look at the numbers: 53 million to 32 million. That's $21 million more that the RS3 has bought in for the company.
Yeah.
And they're the numbers you've got to look at. It doesn't matter. I mean, yeah, we might have less players on every day, but if we're bringing in more money, then that's the game you promote and support and get out there on mobile and get everyone onto.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think it needs to be more balanced.
Make sense.
Like even if one is making way more money, you balance it. You balance out how you're treating them a bit more, and yeah, I agree that it doesn't make much sense. And like I said, and literally all it would take for RS to overtake old school is like 6 months of bad updates in old school and 6 months of great updates in RS. Like, you know, like when I first came back,
some great updates this year.
When I first came back to the game, like, old school was a joke. Like, Zia had just came out. It was a terrible update. People were like, this game does not get any good updates ever. All that type of stuff. And now, obviously, old school has gotten their shit together and they're getting out good updates. But, you know, that stuff swings so quickly that you can't just bet on things, you know, staying the same for years.
Well, they've added some more people. I think they've got 20 or 30 people working on the actual game over there now, where they originally started with 4, it went up to 12. Then I think they put another 5 or 6 on, and I think they've just recently they were sort of looking for more players, more content creators over there. So I'd love to see the numbers of that 307 people who work for Jagex, and I know a lot of those are behind the scenes, but actual content creators, I'd like to see sort of how many they have and how many we have.
I wonder if Jagex did it this way. Thinking about it now, I wonder if they did it because they know that RuneScape will probably stay more popular long term on mobile. So maybe they wanted old school to get the hype, and then RuneScape will come out and probably be the game. I shouldn't say probably, possibly be the game that's more successful, because as we've said, it's not just that it has microtransactions. Like it's a better graphics version of the game. Like, people who are going to be playing this game on mobile, like, sure, a lot of us who play RuneScape are going to play it, and that's probably going to be the majority of it, but there is a chance for one of the games to have a lot of growth because of mobile, and I don't think like a 12-year-old kid today looking at old school RuneScape graphics is going to be drawing it, because I don't think those graphics hold up in...
There's a 17-year-old kid, because I showed my son, and he said, that looked like something from back in 1999.
And it's not. It's, to me, old school graphics don't have like, you know, like you look at an old like 8-bit game or something, and it has a certain like style to it that you can appreciate. And I don't think old school graphics, like they do have like some nostalgia for me, but I don't think it's a style that like everyone is going to be drawn to. It's a style you're drawn to if you lived in that time and played the game, basically.
I mean, I love the old graphics on my old Atari 2600 and my Commodore 64. And I mean, you look at those today and you go, "What the hell is that?" But yeah, that's one reason I can't get into old school. I mean, I used to play a little bit of it, and I've been wanting to go back because of mobile coming up, but I just can't, because the graphics just do my head in over there. I just don't like the graphics at all.
Yeah, same thing. Same thing here. Although I'll probably be trying it a little bit more again. I'm thinking about doing some dual streams where I stream both RS and OS at the same time.
Oh wow, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, well, Black Dragons are so AFK that I'm just like, I might as well actually play a game while I'm playing a game.
Everyone will have their eggs by then, though, so it'll all crash. It'll all crash by the end of the month.
Maybe they've held steady for the past 2 weeks, pretty much.
2 weeks, yeah.
They went down a little bit before last update, but then they went right back up to like 18 to 20 mil. I didn't play yesterday, so I haven't sold any in like over 24 hours, so I don't know what they're at now. So maybe they've crashed.
You selling on the GE, or are you selling direct?
GE.
On the GE, yeah.
I mean, so there is a way to make more money. Like, some people are making money in Dragon Eggs by buying unchecked eggs and then checking them and then merging them, but I just don't want to put in the effort to freaking go to World 2 and argue with a bunch of man babies about the price of something. Like,
yep.
I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I just I love. I honestly think if I didn't have, I definitely wouldn't be playing this game because I just don't like dealing with that.
If you
type
didn't
of
have
thing.
what? You cut out there.
If I didn't have the GE, I wouldn't be playing the game because I couldn't deal with people, you know.
Well, and it's honestly okay for like established markets. Like back in the day, like say you're willing to buy a bunch of coal back in the day, that was easy because there was established markets, there were prices everywhere. There was like a certain part of Falador you would go and stand where people were selling ores, and you could tell the price.
Garden.
Yeah, but like. But even in the garden, you know, like there was like the armor section and the rune section and the and the ore section. It was like, and you knew like after you played the game for like 6 months, you knew which section of the garden to go stand in to buy something. But with dragon eggs, no one wants to actually give a price. Like someone's like selling dragon egg with these perks, and then you're like, how much do you want? Make an offer. You make an offer. How you just lowballed me, you asshole? What the hell? And it's like. That's the kind of trading that I hate. Yeah, like whereas if it's a tried and true item, like I said, it's way easier to buy because people aren't trying to nickel and dime you. But when it's a new update, people are trying to eke out as much money as possible. There's no history of sales really, and that's when it really sucks to have to buy stuff from other players.
Fair enough.
All right.
So that's it. So yeah. So anyway, that was the financial statement. So you know the game is still making plenty of money. It's still plenty healthy. So and I've just picked up a Gloomshoom Zygamite Spalling.
Did either of you watch the mining and smithing showcase by chance?
I didn't. I watched. I was going to, and I fell asleep. I did watch. I did watch Friday night's one.
Yeah, I didn't watch it because I figured there wasn't going to be that much new stuff covered. So this next post, I don't think we really need to read it in detail because I imagine that there's not like I mean, if you want to watch it and you care about the minutia, then I'm sure there's stuff to show. But they've done so many of these streams, and I'm happy that they're doing them.
That's it.
But it's just like, why cover the same thing we covered on the show like 3 months ago? From what I understand, like big topics wise, they have a lot of more stuff planned out now. Like they know what they're gonna do to fix a lot of stuff. I heard that the new spring cleaner looks like it's gonna be great. So I think that a lot of this stream was basically like, how are we going to make stuff like, you know, like old mini games, or not mini games, but you know, like what's the name of that smithing thing that you do in Falador? I can't think of it.
The Artisan's Workshop.
Yeah, I think it was like figuring out like how is Artisan's Workshop gonna work and stuff like that. I think it's a lot of stuff they were talking about in this stream. The biggest thing that I think we found out about it is that there's supposed to be a beta coming in mid-November, which to me says probably
release December.
Well, I don't know. That seems too quick. If there's anything that needs to be fixed, basically.
Yeah, they basically said their next beta will be pretty much when it's ready to go, and they just want to make sure there's sort of no stupid little glitches or anything there. So I would say, you know, if it's going to be mid-November, I would maybe they'll hold it off till a January release because being Christmas, you don't want to sort of have that sort of break there. Maybe it'll be our sort of our sort of January update. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe it depends on how well the beta goes. If there's no major issues, then sure, maybe they'll get it out by December. But yeah, I don't know. To me, that points to probably being early 2019, just because I imagine there's probably going to be stuff they have to go there and fix. I mean, I guess the most interesting thing to talk about is, I mean, there's a big discussion about this in the past couple of days in the Discord chat. And I think we've talked about it before.
The power armor.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've complained about it. Well, not even just the power armor. The fact that they're making 5 sets of armor and 4 of them are gonna be instantly useless because it's all tank armor. It really frustrates me that they're like putting all this time into modeling this armor that like no one is going to use, and I don't know how they address that, but it's just strange to me that you're putting like art asset work into 5 sets of armor. Or 4 sets of armor that you know no one's gonna wear, and then the power armor, that armor is. So basically, if people who don't know, tier 92 armor is less than a percent increase in DPS without some kind of some kind of stat or some kind of perk on the armor itself as a set effect. That's the word I was looking for. Without a set effect, the DPS increase of tier 92 armor is less than 1%. And the way they're talking about this armor, it's going to be super hard and complicated to make, which I think everyone here loves the idea of. But to actually make it worth the amount of time it's going to make it actually keep a value, you're going to have to make this armor actually be powerful. It's going to actually have to have a meaningful DPS increase, and less than 1% is not meaningful when you have, you have like invention perks that give you like a 15% DPS increase. Like, from what I understand, like Precise 5 versus P4E2. P4E2 is a greater DPS increase than what the over Precise 5 than what this power armor will be versus tier 90 armor. And I think Jagex really, really, really needs to consider some kind of set effect here. I don't know what they could do, but we need something, because I don't want to see this just be a dead update.
They didn't mention, because the one part that I was speaking to people about, did they mention anything about the set effect? And nothing was mentioned this time. Last time when they were talking about it, the T90, they weren't actually going to do T90 power armor. It was just going to be the T92 as power armor. So we did get the T90 power armor through. The one thing is that, again, and it will probably come back to the Combat Council, they wouldn't allow them to... Yeah, it has to go through them. So I would say if they haven't mentioned anything about a set effect, the Combat Council's told them no, they're not allowed to put it on.
They said a long time ago there wouldn't be a set effect. They said that 3-4 months ago. But people were saying that, and they were taking it to them, but obviously it's been fighted by the... I don't remember them saying they were going to talk to the Combat Council about a set effect.
No, I think it was the last one they were talking about set effects, but it had to go through the Combat Council. But that was when that's when they were talking about being a tank armor, not power armor.
I remember there being something else they were going to talk about the Combat Council with, but I don't know. Yeah. It's been a while, so... You could easily be right, and I could be misremembering, but I don't know. Either way, I mean, it feels like the Combat Council gets to say too much in this update, even if it's not like a set effect thing. And it really feels like Jagex is worried about. It really feels like the only time Jagex worries about power creep is when it comes to skilling. Like, if it's a PVM update, they basically throw the idea of power creep out the window. Like, look at Invention. It's an insane DPS boost. But a major skilling update's coming. We have to worry about power creep, guys. We can't make this too powerful. And it sucks because it basically neuters so much update potential when they do stuff like that.
It really does. And I mean, the other thing is, I think it was also mentioned that if this doesn't work, that's it for skilling for armor in high level tiers. Now, my issue there is they've already released the mage and range armor through PVM drops. And the other thing is melee is again the redheaded stepchild. I mean, mage and range are pretty much the go-tos, except in sort of certain situations for bossing these days. So hopefully they look at all that, and it's not if this fails, that's it, we're not going to be doing it. It just, I don't know how we're going to go. The other thing we were talking about is, what they're saying, it's going to be about 12 hours to make a full complete set of armor, which is great. And if it sells for a bill, fantastic. But what we also need to look at is how much the pieces are going to cost, because you have to have sort of next set pieces that get made and folded into the bars and things like that. So great, I can make a bill for 12 hours work, but if it's costing me 900 million to buy all that stuff anyway, is it going to be worthwhile?
Yeah, and I honestly don't see this armor even holding that type of price, just because of how little use it's going to have. Well, not even melee armor. Like mage armor doesn't even hold that high of a price.
Yeah,
it's armor. Armor has
it's not a weapon.
It has an effect, but it has such a small effect. It doesn't have the status that a weapon does. Even T92 weapons are, I think, only a couple percentage points in increase or something like that. It's not huge either. but it's way bigger than armor, and they have way more of like a status effect than where. And I think part of it is possibly because like we have so many overrides that like who actually shows the armor they're wearing in in this day and age in RuneScape. You have some kind of cosmetic override that instead of actually showing, hey, I'm wearing this armor. And who knows, the other way they could do it, if they made T92 armor the best looking piece of armor in the game, if this melee armor looked like the best thing they've ever made, then sure, maybe that would make it valuable. But then it would just be a really expensive cosmetic.
I think you hit the nail on the head, though. It needs to have a set effect to give it any value at all.
Yeah, and I really hope that they. I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to write a post about this or something just to get you guys to listen. I feel like Reddit will never upvote it, but maybe if I just tweet it at the mods, they'll read it, because I am really invested in this update and I wanted to see it succeed. And if this update comes out and is a flop and like, oh well, like, I guess we won't try anything like that again, I'm gonna be super angry. Like, I'm usually someone who can stay pretty level-headed, but this update and the way, like, and I don't like hold any animosity against any of the JMods working on it. I think they're all trying to come up with something good, but like, you can't release something like this and then be like they said, like, this is an experiment. If it doesn't go well, then well, no, this kind of stuff doesn't work. And it's like you have to actually give it something to make it work. Like, people don't buy armor for cosmetics; they buy it for its DPS increase. And yeah, like
it's almost built-in failure already by them saying that. It's like it's got a built-in failure to it.
I mean, especially like you said, it's melee. Like, melee has niche use in the game. Like, mage is so broken right now because of 4 ticking. They even range.
Imagine if sort of around the same time they bring out a boss that is, it is a melee boss. You can't make, your mage and range are only going to do 25% of the damage that.
Well, that's what they'd have to do. The only way to make it work, would be to actually like make a boss,
high level boss that does that. Yep.
With that, because like they have made bosses that were supposed to be killed by other combat styles, but mage just wins as a 4 ticking. So it would require them actually making like it's super strong against the other combat styles to actually work. I mean, I would be okay with that, but it would would only be one boss. So even then, like, what they need to do is balance the combat triangle more. Like, I said it before, but I mean, get rid of 4 ticking. I mean, sure, add somebody to the game that has equal like complication maybe, but make it something that's not a bug. Because 4 ticking is just like taking advantage of a bug, basically, or a game limitation, however you want to look at it. You can, I guess, it takes it as more of a game limitation than a bug, but I think 4 ticking in and of itself is a bug. And I'm not saying that people who do it should be banned or something silly like that. I'm just saying that, like, it's silly to have a combat system built around something that was not intended. And I feel like they took the easy way out. They said, hey, we're going to remove 4 ticking, and then like the 4 ticking community got mad, and so they left it in. And that still frustrates me, because it's like you need to make decisions that are best for the health of the game. And you know where the 4 ticking community is now? They're all playing old school RuneScape, making 250 mil an hour in RSGP in old school.
Playing Theater of Blood.
Yeah.
And that's right, and that's what I mean. I mean, you can't blame them. They're going to do what is best for themselves. I mean, that's what they want to do. But that community, in the majority, and I'm not saying all of them, but I mean a lot of them, they don't care about the health of the overall game. They just want their thing where they can make the most money they can to get all the rares that they want to do, buy their dyes, and put their ice dyes on and all that type of stuff, and look the best and show off their wealth. They're not interested in what is best for the whole community or what is best for the entirety of the game. They care, you look at Solak. The only reason they do Solak now is because they want the pet or they want their titles. I mean, they get a new boss out. If it's not the best money in the game, it's deserted in a few weeks. Unless and
now it's not even best money in the game. Like, if it doesn't make more than like 100 mil an hour, like, especially like
let's go over to Wild School and transfer the money. It really, really frustrates the hell out of me, that type of thing. And
it's not just the PVM community. Like, you can't listen to any one community too much. Like, like, you are the game developer, and we have people who play the game for a reason. And hell, maybe I'm like, I can easily admit
you for a reason.
Yeah, I can admit maybe I'm wrong about four ticking. Maybe it's a good idea. I don't think it is, but like, I'm not the person who should make that decision. A game developer who has the knowledge to know the effect of that on the game should be the one making it. And the reason I think it's bad is because I look at games like World of Warcraft. Like, World of Warcraft basically got as popular as it did because it didn't overly complicate combat. It simplified it a bit. It still has its minutia, and there's ways to min-max it, but it's not overly complicated. And then you come to RuneScape, and it's like, I mostly like the combat system in this game, but things like four-ticking add too much. Like, you're four-ticking, your weapon switching, your prayer switching, you're doing all this shit. It's too much complication to appeal to a wider audience, and the design of your combat system should try to reflect the size of the audience you're trying to get. And if you make a niche combat system, you're going to have a niche audience. It's kind of how I see it.
That's it. You're making content for 1 or 2% of your entire player base.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
And yes, they are important to the game, but I mean, you want to please 1% or you want to please 99%,
Yeah, and yeah, absolutely. It's not like, I think that community should be addressed in ways, but it shouldn't be. You shouldn't balance your combat around the best players at your game. That's not how you balance something, because then all you will have left in the end is the best players of your game. And you need to balance it around appealing to more people, getting more people interested in high level PVM. Things like that. Obviously, you can't go too far. We don't want to go back to, old school level combat where you just click and stand there. Although it's literally what I'm doing right now. So I don't even click. Again, I just aggro pot and stand there.
That's it. But again, you're fighting dragons. You're not fighting bosses, and that's bosses obviously do need. You've got to be interactive with them and such. We don't want, as you said, just take a bunch of prayer potions, pray melee, pray whatever, and sit there. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean,
and especially go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I'm not near as excited about it as I was when we when it was all released and the first lot of things that they were talking about. A lot of my excitement and such has sort of been quelled since then.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe it'll be like Player on Farms, because I'm the same way.
Fingers crossed.
I'm super pessimistic about it, but maybe they'll surprise us, and they'll have like been hiding that effect the whole time, and it'll be amazing and it'll be great. But yeah, I mean, or maybe the great thing would be if they actually had plans to. Because they have made some small moves towards making the combat styles more equal as far as what they can do. But like I said, the only way that you're going to make Mage not win is to get rid of four-ticking. Or to introduce it into the other style. That would be the other solution, is allow four-ticking in melee and range. And if that would be, to me, that would be better than where it currently is, where Mage is the only place you can four-tick, and therefore it just wins instantly on basically everything.
That's it. I mean, If they can't remove it off that, then add it to the others. That's sort of your next best step.
Yep.
And again, it's not something that I will ever use. So, I'm not saying, well, I want it because I prefer range and that's what I want. I will never use four ticking. I can't. That's just not my style of play. But certainly for the health of the game and the health of sort of all combat styles, you need to equalize them, and perhaps one of the things is start bringing out some bosses that have a high defense against mage, so that if you are using them, they're only doing 50%, 70% of the damage that you do with range and melee, and maybe that's an answer.
I would like to see us go back to that too. It used to be something that we did back in the day.
I still love that.
And I honestly, like, if you go back to the podcast like 2 years, I was a super fan of the fact that they had kind of moved away from that. But having lived in this world that we have now, where like you just mage every boss, I can actually see the benefit of boss having weakness, because it means that like there will always be a combat style that is better. Like no matter how much you try to balance it, something will always have slightly better DPS. Which I think is part of why you have to make bosses that have weaknesses, because that's another. You try to get as close as you can to making every combat style do the same DPS. You want them to feel unique and do about the same DPS, but there's always going to be one combat style that does 2-3% more, and the best players in the game are going to want to use that. So the way you balance for that is you make bosses that have unique weaknesses, and that would be great.
Yep. Excellent. Yep. That is the way. That's the way I think we should start doing it. Just give them, higher defense against the other ones, and that'll sort of help balance things out. But yeah, man, your thoughts? Where we've been doing all the talking, not letting you get a word in edgewise.
I'm just happy that the spring cleaner's not going to be ruined.
Yeah. Well, for the money that everyone sort of had to pay for that at the start, they couldn't do that. That's one thing that. Yeah. It took me forever to actually start using it. I didn't realize how useful it was.
Well, can you get the spring cleaner? And you can't get it in game yet, other than Thaler, right?
Yeah.
No, you can make it with Invention now, I guess, right?
Yeah, you can make it with Invention. Yes.
Okay. Cool.
You make tight springs as well.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I couldn't remember. I always forget that it's Silverhawks that need a. Well, actually, Silverhawks come from Ottoman Shop now, so they are basically free. But it would be
still tied to Treasure Hunter in a way, though.
Yeah, but at least you can claim them for free. That's a big upgrade. I mean, we all remember a couple of years ago when I was like, all I want on this Christmas calendar is Spring Cleaner and Silverhawks, and then we got it. So.
Yeah. But as you said, maybe there's a way of there's a new special bird where we have to try and pluck the feathers from.
I mean, I'd be okay with other sources for feathers. I was just talking about the boots themselves, having a way to claim them.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
But I mean, being able to make them, they should honestly add the Silverhawk boots to Invention as well, and let you make them there, and feathers in some way. I'd be okay with that, and have it require. I don't know, make it require Phoenix feathers. There you go. Make Phoenix feathers have another use, and then you have to make them with Invention components and shit. All right.
There you go.
Well, let's move on to the patch notes teaser. Do you mind reading that one?
I can read that one. There is actually a survey in game. There is a link on there. So if people want to go to that, you can win a $50 Amazon voucher of your country's equivalent currency. And there are 5 huge 60 by 40 centimeter printed maps of Gielinor to give away. So if you're interested in that, head over and have a look. But patch notes, Monday's update. Now, this was from the Friday stream. Player-owned farms and farming added a Balthazar location near the Ardy lodestone, so people don't have to go. People who are all hanging around Ardoyne at the moment for the farms, you don't have to sort of run away and go over to a Berthorpe. You can get Balthazar, you claim your tickets there.
That's a change that I don't get. Like, it's so easy to teleport to Berthorpe.
He's right at the lodestone, I know.
Yeah.
People are lazy shits. People are probably complaining about it.
Well, I mean, I guess it's better than adding it to Prif, which is probably what people actually wanted. Was like, add Balthazar to Prif so we never have to leave. But, yeah. It's okay. It's okay to walk around the world, people. You won't catch any STDs just by walking around the world.
I really wish we could go back to the days where there were no lodestones and you had to walk. Much as I love my lodestones and all that, I sort of do miss that. Yeah, the run between Lumbridge up to Varrock and things like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that hurts the game. Like, it hurts your immersion in the world to be able to just instant travel everywhere. It makes the world feel small, and it's
so much smaller. Yeah.
We were talking about it.
All those old spots.
I don't know if you were on that podcast, but we were talking about, like, I don't think it was you. I think it was me, our man Derp, and MageBit. But we were talking about they were talking about potential future skills, and one of them was archaeology. And I was like, they should make an archaeology where you can't teleport. You basically have to go to these dig sites, get like old relics, and then you have to run them back to a bank without teleporting. Yes. Otherwise, they break.
Yes,
and it would be a great way to make you have to like explore the world again with this skill that only works that way.
Could you imagine the screaming from that completionist community, though?
Oh yeah, people.
But that would be absolutely awesome idea.
People would definitely be pissed, but I think like it's one of those updates where people would be pissed, and then in 6 months they'd be happy about it because they would like the game more. Like it's. I remember when
that's right.
When World of Warcraft got rid of flying, they made flying basically to fly in a modern update in World of Warcraft. First of all, it doesn't come out for the first 6 months to a year of an expansion, and then when it does, you have to have literally completed the entire new area to be able to travel around it. And when it first happened, people were super angry about it, and now it's not even a thing. People just are used to having to walk places and travel slower, and it really does help immersion. Like I get, it's so nice to have the quality of life, but the immersion breaking, and like I said, I think it hurts how many people want to play a game when you can just like insta travel anywhere.
Yep, definitely.
Speaking about completionists and all that, we haven't had this discussion yet. But does anyone think it's ridiculous that the player-owned farm, all you have to do is like unlock the seasons for the comp cape?
I'm sort of in two minds. I mean, because that cape is the best in slot game, to force people basically to wait, 9 months until all the seasons are done, I think is a little harsh. I do wish that the bean cost, was tied in that you couldn't unlock that seasonal part until you had done sort of all the major things in the farm, like unlocked all the pens, unlock the breeding paddocks, do all that. Then you can do the seasonal thing. It shouldn't have been, I'm just going to go do the animals and get that first. But you can't take the best in slot cape for 9 months off people. I don't think.
Yeah, I just did they really have to do like the seasons? Didn't really have to be attached.
You mean add more achievements to it or what?
No.
I mean I'm talking to R. Yeah, I know what the achievement is. I'm asking R man, like what do you think they should have done? Like made it take longer or
it should have just been more of like the actual content instead of the seasons. You know what I mean? Like instead of maybe unlock all the pens, stuff like that. Unlock one of each animal or something like that instead of having it this thing where you have to unlock the different seasons.
Gotcha.
And then have to put in a thing which changes the season so that people can get the completion escape again.
Yeah.
It seems like it doesn't really make it a completion escape anymore if you've got this giant piece of content that isn't included in the comp cave,
Yeah, well, I mean the way I've had it, like I've heard people define the comp cave is it's supposed to be like you've done like the surface level of every update, but then like the trim cape is where you're supposed to have like truly done every part of an update. And like I've argued for a long time that it should be different than that, but I think that's how Jagex generally balances it, is like you've experienced this update versus you've completed this update. You've completed this update is actually what trim comp is basically used for. And I don't know, it is weird. It feels like ever since Menopause they haven't added very many things to the comp cape, and it feels like I don't know the problem.
That's why I'm not worried when they have a what they call it, a period where you don't what was it called? Pern didn't like it. It was a what's the word I'm looking for? A period where
the amnesty where they had
amnesty. That's the word. Yeah, that's why I don't mind that. Like I think that should be a thing with every.
That's a
update.
better way. But I mean, I totally agree. They should have had to have unlocked all the pens. Have maybe just get one of each animal into the pens,
and it wouldn't have that would not take that long.
No, that'd only. Well, that's it. That's a week, 2 at most.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice if they would like have more rigid definitions of the comp cape. But I think the really problem is what Pern said. It's a best in slot cape, and not just in the amount of damage it does, but in like the like the DPS increase is actually small, but the amount of teleports you get on it, the amount of items it combines, like all that stuff makes it something that people who don't have it when they've had it before, they miss it. And so Jagex doesn't want to make those players feel like they have to work for it again. And to me, that's why like rewards like that should be cosmetic only. I said it time and time again, like it should be cosmetic, or it should be very, very subtle changes. Not like the comp cape is super powerful with the amount of teleports and stuff that you get for it. And like it's nice to have that kind of reward to work towards, but on the flip side of that, it means that you feel like you must have that to play the game efficiently once you get there.
Yeah, well, I've had the comp cape. I'll never get it back again, but I did own it at
please, you're gonna get it back again.
Nah, not with all the group. I just don't like group bossing. I know it's an MMO and it's designed around playing with other players and that, but I don't want to stuff anyone else up. I'm not a great PVMer.
I know, but I saw you.
I am just David. I mean, I am just so lucky that I had David, and he was a great guy. He didn't charge me to go out there, but for people who don't have someone like that, and they've got to go and spend millions and millions of GP to unlock that type of content, it just sort of.
But it's a completionist cape.
But that's right. But if it's and that's exactly the completionist cape, as you said, should only be a cosmetic thing when you have completed the game. And yes, certainly have extra ones for the trim completionists, but there should be a true combat cape that'll give you all that. I mean, even the Master Quest cape. Yeah. And maybe the Master Quest cape can have all those quest rewards like the Ava's Alerter and those teleports from.
I think even the Master Quest cape should be.
And then you can combine the two capes. If you've done all those, you can combine them together. Okay, yep. So I've done all that, and I can keep doing that, and then have your cosmetic once you've completed it, and that's this beautiful, best looking cape that's an override for. But I mean, we've had this discussion before, and it's one of those things that's always going to be ongoing. And maybe amnesty is the way to do it and give people sort of a set amount of time to get it done in. But the problem with that is as well, you then force people to rush through content instead of enjoying content. And is that really how you want people playing your game?
Well, that's why the amnesty needs to be. This is going to sound crazy, but make it 6 months. Give it a good period of time where, hey, someone's earned that cape at one point in time. Yep. Doesn't that give them, a certain amount of time they can keep that cape?
Maybe.
I don't know.
It's...
I think a 3-month amnesty, that doesn't mean you have to rush through all the stuff too fast. I think that is probably a better option. If we're not going to just make it a cosmetic and divide into sort of different things, but
I feel like companies are going to rush no matter what. Like that's the thing is like there's no way to break the I don't know how you break the efficiency idea that so many RS players hold. Like I'm not one of those players, and I've tried to be, and at certain points I do play efficiently. Like every couple months I'll put a couple weeks in playing efficiently, but I don't do it constantly because then I would literally quit the game. Like one of my friends, a few months ago, I was gonna try to beat my one friend to max, and I did a bunch of shit efficiently, and then I got bored of it, and I moved on. And he's like all about doing dailies and stuff, and then he's like, "You should do dailies," and I'm like, "I don't want to. I hate them, and I'm not gonna do them because they're best XP." Like a novel idea of playing the video game because I enjoy it. And sure, if you enjoy efficiency, then play that way. But most people they complain when they have to be efficient. Like I said, the player-owned farms update. The first couple of days, people were just complaining like this is like Dailyscape all over again. I have to log in like every 16, 20 hours just to keep up with this update, and that's just it's not fair. And it's like you don't have to do that. You want to do that, but that is not a requirement of how to play a game. That is a self-imposed thing that you are putting on yourself, and you can.
I always find it interesting. I always find it interesting when someone is telling you it's not the efficient way to do it. And I almost feel like the person's talking to themselves. They're telling themselves why am I doing this? I shouldn't be this efficient. I'll force it on someone else so they have to do this boring shit that I have to do.
I have people yelling at me all the time about things that I do, but it's like
wearing tank armor all the time.
The game for fun. Yeah. I don't care about maximum efficiency and all that. That's what I like. It gives me that little bit of extra life points and such. That's the way I've always played, and it's just. That's it. I have actually started using the T80 power armor a lot more now, though, unless I'm going to somewhere where I know I need that extra life points. But yeah,
and I mean, that's the thing. I don't know. I guess maybe the game's just so old that that's the community that we have. But it feels like there has to be a way to move the community off that mindset. Even things like Dailyscape, I in some ways agree with the reduction of Dailyscape, but in other ways I'm just then just don't do them.
I don't.
The easiest way to reduce Dailyscape is to not participate in it, and that's a choice that you can make. And sure, you will miss out on being the quickest to 99 or the quickest to 5.4 bill, but guess what? Those races were already won. Like, exactly. You're not going to beat anyone right now by rushing to 99s, to rushing to max, rushing to 5.4 bill. Like, sure, you'll be like number 5,000 on the top leaderboards. Cool. Like, it's not a race. Like, it's not a race that anyone is looking at anymore. It's only in your head that you feel that motivation, and if you can let go of that, you can enjoy games a bit more. And I get, like, you want to maximize, like, if you can only play for like an hour a week or an hour a day or whatever, then you want to maximize what you do in that time. But even so, like, do that within reason, and remember that first and foremost, we are playing a video game. We aren't. This isn't like real life where you need to figure out how to make as much money as possible before you're too old to work a job, which is what it feels like. Some people feel like they have to play RuneScape. Like, oh my god, I could be making this much more GP doing this. Like that. Like I said, if that's
and people, if they start doing that,
real life.
No, it's but not. If people start doing that, they'll actually start enjoying the game more and not whinging and finding fault in every little nuance of the game.
Right? Like, we have a topic coming up that talks about that. But yeah, it's just like let yourself enjoy the game, and if efficiency is what you actually enjoy, then do it. But if you find yourself complaining at every step of being efficient, then you probably aren't actually enjoying that. You probably, in fact, hate it, and like that's not what we play video games for, anyways. Do we even start reading the patch note teasers? I don't even know where we are.
We read the first line, the Ad Balthazar's location, and then we went off on a spin-off. So let's keep going. Fixed a bug with the destroy empty buckets while farming option in relation to ultra composts. The following rewards have been added to the farmers market. Small, medium, and large animal pen kits for 500, 1,500, and 2,500 beans. Now, I don't know what that one was about. I missed that bit.
It's for you're gonna love this. You're gonna love this so much. It's for Iron Men, because currently to build pens, you need, I think, level 90 smithing to make rune nails.
Oh,
so those pen kits. No. Those pen kits allow you to make the pens without the rune nails.
Fuck off.
So you're watering down. Don't forget though. Also, when the mining and smithing comes out, rune nails are going to go down in what you need to make them anyway, aren't they? They're going to be rebalanced.
Probably,
because it comes from tier 90 to T60 anyway, or T50.
It's about time they call it Bronze Man, isn't it?
So okay, that I'm not. It annoys me a little bit, but not as much as it normally would, because knowing that when the mining and smithing update comes out, you're only going to need level 50 anyway.
Yeah, that might be why they did
still, I mean, you're an Iron Man for a reason. Suck it up, princess.
Okay, Killer Bunny says next time claim 5.4 bill spot is 408. So I guess never mind. You can still get in the top 500. So play efficiently, everybody, so you can get there.
Yeah, if you're not on the front page, I don't care. If you're not in the top 10, I don't care.
I don't even know who the top 10 is anymore.
I'm going to go further and say I just don't care what place you're in.
Well, exactly. I've never actually looked at it. All I know is Zazima, that everyone used to tell me about. He was number 1, but I don't think he is.
Yes, Zazima hasn't been relevant in a while. Now I want to look. I need to look. All right, keep reading the patch notes. We're gonna do something.
No worries. Graphical updates. They have added a summoning pet cycle toggle option to all pets, excluding, of course, legendary pets. This option will automatically summon the next toggled pet in the cycle. Only 10 pets can be selected. So when you select them, you can lock 10 in and it'll just rotate through them for you.
That's awesome.
They've also re-added the information icon to the game clock, which notifies players of upcoming events. And the Pathfinder outfit that we all love to wear has been graphically improved.
It's actually, the Pathfinder outfit update is a good thing. It's like a low-level player update, and the old one looked looked like you had bad eyesight when you were looking at it. So I think it's a good update.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's the thing you wear for about the first 30 or 40 minutes of game until you get some actual armor. But anyway, that's
that's first impressions are important when trying to get new players.
Very true, very true.
Okay, so Tsushima is number 58 on the high scores now, so he's still up there.
What a noob!
Didn't he stop at like 1 point off or something?
I don't think so. He only got 5.4 bill like a couple of years ago, from what I remember, like right before Invention or something, or maybe right after.
Okay.
But yeah, Lemmy is number 1, and Scuzzy is number 2. I think Scuzzy was one of those people who had a lot of there was a lot of controversy when Invention came out. I don't know if it was Scuzzy or someone else
and LeMay, there was controversy, and then LeMay cracked it and said, they're cheating, they knew about this type of stuff or something. Yeah. I remember that. But LeMay got back to number 1, obviously. When Slayer obviously went to 120, he took it over because Scuzzy, I remember that because Scuzzy beat him to 120 Invention or 200 mil Invention.
So I do actually know more of these names in the top 5. So then there's Lost, and there's Omid, and there's I Trolled You, which I Trolled You is one of the more popular streamers. So the top 5, I actually recognize a few.
Okay, I recognize the top 2 names.
Yeah, I recognize 3 out of 5 of those names, which is surprising.
Well, there you go. Anyway,
and look at this. We got DXNXEX7 at number 25. Did we find DXTLB's alt account? I don't know. Anyways.
Okay, some Grand Exchange updates. The sell history will now show your past 20 transactions instead of the past 10. So they've doubled the amount there. Added 2 new options to sell history transactions. You can do an immediate repeat, which repeats the exact transaction, or a detailed repeat. So it automatically brings the transaction up, allowing you to adjust it. So say you bought 1,000 planks for 500 GP, click on it and you can do exactly the same thing. Or if you want to drop it to 500 rather than 1,000, you can sort of pull up the detailed one and adjust it that way. They've also added a collect and repeat button to successful transaction windows. So collect and just repeat. So if you do your 10,000 rune bars every 4 hours, you can just keep doing that. Selecting an item while searching in GE no longer closes the search options. And selecting quantity/pricing of items will now close it, however.
These are all... Like, the GE changes are all great. It's going to save you so much time. Like, if you're trying to price check something, it'll be so much easier to, like, search, 10 different items. Also, if you don't want to put in too high of an offer for something, it's, like, now, if you cancel... Like, if you put in an offer, it doesn't buy, and you hit cancel, there's going to be a button right where the cancel button was that allows you to relist that item and change the price to something else. So it's going to be super easy to...
So much
make
better.
changes. Yeah, this is a great. This is what I was talking about earlier, where people have been asking for this update for like years now, and there was a pretty popular thread on Reddit like 2 weeks ago. And it's funny because I saw some posts on Reddit where it's like, thanks to the guy who made that post 2 weeks ago, got this update made. And I'm like, there's no way this update was made in like a week. Like this has probably been mostly done
for ages.
Yeah, it's probably been mostly done for a while. And like Jagus has said, one of their goals for the next half of this year is to bring, mostly done tap updates forward. I think this is one of those updates where it was probably worked on in tap time and then finished a couple weeks ago by some team.
What I also saw when they were talking about this was people complaining, stick your GE updates, where's our bank update? And they have told us that won't be done till after mobile now, but
you brought me off on a tangent though. I hate that for the bank update. So like when they first talked about the bank update, they're like, it's not possible to do it in small sections. We're going to have to do the whole thing at once. And now they're doing every single part of it in small sections. We got like the update.
Just give me placeholders. That's the only thing I want.
But that's what they're talking about. They're like, after we're done with mobile, we're going to see if we can get placeholders by themselves done. They literally told us placeholders were not possible without having to rewrite the bank, and they're walking that back, and it frustrates me because I actually am like, no, you should save all this stuff and actually rewrite the bank. I hate the fact that they are batching the bank update. Basically, I want it all at once, not because, especially because, like, for example, the player-owned house and Diango access stuff. This is not how it should work. To me, the way it should work is if I put a skilling outfit in my bank, it should automatically go to Diango if I want it to. And then to withdraw it again, I have to go back to Diango. Whereas right now, you have to freaking delete the outfit, and then it's so much
frustrating.
It's so half done. And I was afraid that's how they were going to do it, and it's how they ended up doing it. And it's like, guys, you really need to take the time on the bank update because it's as they've said,
it's your bank.
Yeah, everybody uses it. You can't log into RuneScape without using your bank. Like you just can't. It's impossible to play the game unless you're playing old school and you have an ultimate Iron Man. You are using your bank.
That's it. I mean, if I do not go into my bank 20 times a day, I've only been on for 5 minutes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Anyway, on to others. Sinkhole NPC attack option now instantly disappears when they die, allowing players to instantly left-click loot. Inspecting spirit gems with 0 charges will allow you to reconvert them back to an uncharged state. Players no longer have to recomplete the all-fired-up minigame to reclaim the item rewards. Players can now drop cooked fish in Demonheim using the Drop X option. Players can now always reclaim their cannons from Nulodian if it degrades or a player logs out, and temporary fix until on that cannon reclaim, it's a temporary fix until a permanent one can be made.
Didn't they?
And that is, sorry, go.
I was only half my head to that update, but wasn't it like you have to get some item from Nulodian to make this work or something? Do you remember the details on that?
No, well, basically what they were talking, it's mainly for the melee and the magic one, because if you accidentally lock out, because they're from Invention, it doesn't recognize you anymore. So when you try and pick it up when it starts degrading, it won't let you because you've logged out, you've come back in, and to the cannon, you're now a different number. And that's why they were having it. So if it degrades like that, you can actually go to Nulodian and get it back so you don't have to make a new one. I lost when I was hunting. The only time I've ever used the cannon when I was hunting for the Imp champion scroll for the Champion of Champions title. And I lost 3 range cannons that way. It did my head in because it cost a fortune to make those with Invention.
Wait, Pern, you used a cannon? Oh my goodness!
I used a cannon down at Imps in the Karamja volcano. I went against everything, but I used it twice. The third one I made, and I went down there. I said, you know what? I'm not gonna. It's costing me too much. I'm not going to use this again. And then I just put it away and didn't pull it out again. So, but that is it. That is what the updates that are coming next week, or Monday now.
Yeah, coming. Wait, it's Saturday. I almost thought it was Sunday here. It's not.
Yeah. It's Sunday for me. It's 3:09 a.m. Sunday morning. It's 5:09 a.m. Actually, you're up really late, man. 5:09 for you, isn't it?
Thanks for reminding me.
Dedicated to the podcast.
That's it. See? That's us people from down under.
Podcast.
Hey, look, I tried to do this show in like the morning your time, and Pern wanted to do it now, so here we are.
It's definitely the morning my time.
It's the morning my time. It's just very, very early in the morning.
I was trying to start the podcast like 3 hours from now, 4 hours from now.
Yeah, it's just my problem is with the kids all are running around. Like yesterday I had to go to the doctors and then take my son to work, and then just daytime's just so hard with all the running around. When I get my own house in a couple of months, it'll be different.
Except for do it when they're at school.
Well, that's the thing. My daughter's at uni now, and like they're never at uni. University is like 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day.
They're at uni, but they're just not there.
Yeah, I know. Anyway.
All right.
Moving on to our next post, and it is, why is mobilizing armies still in game? And that's the question I think everyone asks. And they did speak a little while ago as one of the mini games that they were looking at removing. But again, it's not going to be for a while. They've got a lot of other things that they have to do first. But anyway, quick rant about mobilizing armies, one of my final trim comp requirements. First off, no one plays off Spotlight, and Spotlights only occur once every few months. Thus, Is that right? Every few months?
I guess for this minigame.
Okay. Thus,
there's so many minigames that it takes forever to get back to. It's every couple months you get back to the one that was on.
Oh, okay, then fair enough. Thus, it is near impossible to make rank progress except during a short 3-day period. I can, of course, ask my friends for help, which I did. Unfortunately, there's a tutorial that they need to go through in order to play. Normally, a tutorial would be a good thing, but in this tutorial, key pieces such as their troops disappear. Mobilizing armies is an incredibly broken piece of game content. It has outdated rewards, outdated graphics, and broken playing mechanics. And again, those playing mechanics, it is, if you do play it, you have to actually play that on Java. It doesn't work on NXT, and they have actually said that. The only people who are playing are those attempting to complete an achievement, and they do so by suiciding as quick as possible in matches. Nobody plays MA for fun because it is not fun. This minigame needs to be removed or significantly repaired.
So, yeah, I mean, I can somewhat understand this person's struggle. I think, honestly, one thing they should do is I think spotlights should either last longer or should just go on constantly. As in, like, every 3 days there should be a new minigame on Spotlight instead of having it be weekends only. Or maybe is that how it, right now?
I thought it did work. Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'm realizing now why I'm saying this that I may be wrong as to how it works. But if there is some way to increase spotlights on minigames, that might actually be
spotlight hours, where you can do like a happy hour where you get 2 hours of it every couple of days or something like that, perhaps.
Any minigame reward now, though, be unlocked with Thailor, or is that not?
Yes.
So, like, he could just be playing other minigames instead of mobilizing armies and getting the mobilizing army rewards if he wanted to.
I believe so, yeah, because that's what people are doing with not the Barbarian,
Castle Wars?
The Castle Wars one, to unlock those. Yeah, so perhaps, yeah.
I don't know, I mean, there's definitely, minigames are in a really bad state, and especially if something's unplayable in your modern client, then...
Yep, get rid of it.
Probably do something about that. Because
that's pretty tough.
Yeah, because imagine a new player isn't going to know the mobilizing armies is shit. You come in and you're like, oh, I'm going to try out this minigame that I just randomly ran into, and then it turns out to be a load of crap. Like that could be bad for how people perceive the game.
Yep. And as I said, it doesn't even work in NXT. You can only play it in Java.
That's
so
insane.
If you are looking to do it, click over to Java people. And that was direct from one of the mods. I remember them talking about that a few months ago, and that stuck in my head. It's like, are you serious? Like, yeah, we know there's a problem. It only works in Java. It's broken on NXT, so you can't play it in NXT.
How is that still in the game? That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well,
that would be the perfect place for the farm, as I said earlier.
The amount of work to remove it is really what it comes down to. I understand the frustration of why is it in game, but how many people interact with the content versus how much work is it to remove it versus how angry is the community going to be that they didn't get 600 big updates this month. You have to kind of balance that all out.
Perhaps the best way to do it is just take that achievement off your trim comp. Just remove the mobilizing armies one. I know it's not fair on those people who've done it earlier, but hey, they've done things like that before where they've halved the amount of livered farm things you have to do. And that they've modified some of those. So maybe it's just time. Let's just remove mobilizing armies.
Yeah.
As you said, you do have the Thailor. Maybe just go play other mini games and use Thailor.
Yeah. Maybe the Thailor system needs a buff because I think it's actually pretty slow to do it that way. But
yeah. Of course. Yeah.
But yeah, if you really wanted to grind it out, you could just play any minigame that's on Spotlight and do it that way.
Monkey Face Punch Bonanza is a fun one. Heist was good too, but I believe there's problems up there too now. Okay, shall we move on to the next one?
Yeah, let's do it.
So this one is posted by Kiaz, who says, can we stop judging content on first day of release? Seriously, barring the need for more clarification on mechanics, player-owned farms are actually a good update. I see a lot of people complaining about having to kill thousands of creatures in order to get that animal, but did you know you can buy them on the GE? but they're too expensive. That's your problem. And aren't the main rewards, invention potions, tradable? So seriously, if you don't like the content, don't do it. You can still reap the benefits. I personally am so far enjoying the content, not for the rewards or the profitability of it, but because I think farming and breeding mechanic is kind of neat. And the unique traits you can get from the animals is kind of cool. So...
yeah, the RR Man made the show notes, and I didn't even see this topic when it was on Reddit, but like, hell yeah, I completely 150% agree with this person. Stop complaining about updates day one. There was so many complaints of like, I don't understand this update. Why is it so complicated? Blah blah blah. I'm just like, shut the frick up.
That's it. There's one. The first comment I've got is remember invention got shit done by complaining. And Mod Rowley has answered that. While complaining can get things done, it's probably the least useful way to motivate developers. Mm-hmm. Just saying. And that's it. I mean, constructive criticism is fine, but just whinging about something. And I see nothing wrong with this update at all. It is probably the top of my list now for update of the year. It's probably even taken out the You Are It quest. And people know, I love my quests. The Clue Scroll update and the You Are It quest were my favourites, but I would say the farms has probably taken the number one position now. It's fun, it's interactive. As I said earlier, if there was one change I would make to it, I would have used this to do from 99 to 120 farming, with the animals being unlocked at the different levels. I think it would have been a perfect opportunity to take farming to 120. But so saying, the way it's done and the way it is, it supplements farming. It is a fantastic update. So that's my 2 cents worth. Hannah?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, we covered it, I think, a little bit in the pre-show and then a little bit at the top of the show. It makes no sense that people... like, I'm really frustrated with how people react to a new update that's like adds all this, new complication to the game, and it's like, oh, why so hard? Why I have to learn in video game? Is what it feels like, and I'm just like, come on now.
Oh man,
yeah, I just love that statement. It's like, can we stop judging it on the first day? Like, I feel like if everyone waited till the next day, a lot of your questions would be answered. Just have a bit of patience, people.
I just want to point out another one. This is from Kadov, who says, I don't mind some of the high-level stuff being a mystery, like exact drop rates, perk combos, etc. However, simple things being a mystery is beyond me and should be disclosed on day one. They took the idea of RuneScape players liking a puzzle to figure out things to an extreme, and it feels like they intentionally cut out stuff of the tutorial. This wouldn't be so bad if it was more instantaneous, like the time-skipping feature of the tutorial, but we all got excited and set it up, and now we're here hours later with nothing to show for it, and we're scratching our heads wondering if it's a bug or intended. This update was aimed at not feeling like our daily scape farming runs, but it feels exactly like that so far, hence our outcry.
When did they say it was not aimed at feeling like farming runs? That was like the whole point, is to make it farming.
Exactly. It's an extension of farming. It should operate like farming. It's not, I mean, if you don't like the idea of farming, be a dick and go and, waste your time out there doing that thing I hate and think should be removed from the wilderness, the war bands, and you get your 300k XP farming a day out there. Or just do this. If you breed your dragons properly and open those other 2 large dragon pens, or the 2 large dragon pens to breed, you'll have 3 breeding areas, and you can just have dragons growing at different stages in each of them on a cycle, and you can make 200 or 300 XP a day. So,
yeah, things taking time are not a bad thing. Calm down, people.
Yep.
Sorry, I got distracted because my friend just bought a yellow party hat and then lent it to me, so I'm distracted in game right now.
Oh, very nice. Go and get a photo of it quickly. He's complaining, about things like you can't kill cows or chickens, only unlock them. Well, they did tell us that. You need a space open for yaks to appear when summoning instead of going to the bank like everything else. Okay, that's probably a little glitch that they will fix up. Elders can breed. Well, if you had your rabbits in there, I mean, after 25 minutes, you knew elders could breed anyway. And animals eat every 2 hours to increase their health, etc. Well, I mean, the whole idea is about learning, is about experiencing, is about finding things out for yourself. Don't hold if I want a game that holds my hand, I'll go and play one of those games. It's an MMO. You're there to explore and find things out, and this does it perfectly right. So if Mod Raven and crew are out there, guys, yeah, while there are a few naysayers out there, and we always say it is the minority that squeak the most, the majority of players that I have spoken to have absolutely loved it. I haven't seen any complaints. The only complaints I have seen are that some players wanted more animals. I think that they've got enough, and it leaves you room to expand. If you did want to do one thing for me, on the Master Farmer outfit, if you have unlocked the Trollheim teleport from Livid Farms, put that on there for us. Other than that, fantastic. That's me wrapped up on farming.
Yeah. I have nothing else to add, and I'm still distracted by this party hat, so.
Amen.
Yeah. It's a great update. Have a bit of patience. That's the whole point of the whole update. And with that, I'm going to have to go to bed. Otherwise, I'll fall asleep. So.
No worries, mate. Thank you for hanging out for so long. I know it's very there. What time's your daughter going to wake you up, you reckon?
Oh, probably soon.
Don't go to bed. Just get that coffee down.
Yeah, that's the one.
How old is she now?
Just turned 6 recently. So.
Oh, so she doesn't go for an afternoon nap anymore. So
no.
I was going to say, just go down when she does. You can't do that anymore.
No.
Okay, mate. Thank you. Take it easy.
Have a good one. Peace out.
Yeah. Thanks for recording with us. All right. We have 3 more topics left.
While Hannah plays with her new party hat, I'll read the next one. Are you getting the photo done?
Yeah, I'm currently chatting with him, but I do need to take a photo.
Okay, no worries. So while you do that, I'll just read on to the next one. It says, RuneScape will die without PvP. I just went to Warcraft again after a couple of years, and the PvP is flourishing, which means the game is flourishing. If Jagex doesn't fix PvP and add some type of random PvP game mode with PvP gear rewards, then RuneScape will die. Player versus player is the future of gaming. Nobody cares about fairy tale stories anymore. They just want to kill each other and go against an opponent with a brain, not a boring NPC robot. That's why Fortnite and PUBG are popular. RIP RuneScape, it really will die. So, a PvP game mode. Bounty Hunter. PvP gear rewards from Bounty Hunter. And what do we have? About 14 people playing it every day. And RuneScape's going to die without PvP. Didn't we just read about that their money has gone up exponentially this year? It's like I think it was about a 15% profit increase. Player base has gone up 10%.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because people always talk about like RS players always talk about how old school has so many PvPers, and even PvP in that game, people complain that it's not very popular. So it's like you can't try sure, PUBG and Fortnite are 2 of the most popular games in years, but you can't try to replicate that kind of popularity in your old game. You have to lean into what makes it popular, and PVM and questing and skilling are what this game is built around. And sure, PvP is a part of it, but this person goes a bit extreme. Like I do wish that PvP would get updated, but that's
And let's have a look. I mean, at those. I mean, he's quoting PvP games, but let's look at the longevity of those type of games. When they come out, they're popular for 12 months, 18 months, and then they slowly start to decline as the next one comes out. I mean, RS has been here for 17 years. They're doing something right. Yes, it used to have a flourishing PvP community. People get older, people move on, storylines move on, other things come out. As you said, it'd be great to see PvP revived, but the game isn't going to die just because there's no PvP out there.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, I mean, I think that's like, I mean, I could go into a giant argument about. Well, I guess the next topic's about PvP too, but I've already made the argument for PvP on the podcast. But thinking the game will die without it is, I don't know. It's like saying the game will die without. I can't even think of something that's equally silly.
The game is going to die if we don't have ornate turtles on the beach. So anyway, as you said, that leads us straight into the next topic, which says, any hope for PvP? So this is actually from a returning player. It says, hi, I'm a returning player. I used to play before RuneScape 3/EOC. The fact is, I really like the new combat mechanics and enjoy that the game is a bit less grindy. I'd really like to get involved in the game, but I feel that if there is no end game like PvP, getting the skills stats up is not worthy. I like most of RS3 features like dungeoneering, although I have never played multiplayer. That's something I need to do. NXT graphics, clan citadel updates, quests continuing the lore, and yes, the EOC combat. Because of this, I won't go play OSRS, plus the fact that I have to start all over again. I just get mad that nothing is done to fix the wilderness or PvP. It would be so much fun. So I have read most PvPers left to OSRS. Plus, personally, I'm opposed to this legacy mode. It doesn't allow the game to fully grow in its new mechanics. I read there was a bounty hunter update, but it wasn't good. That's what I heard. What I don't understand is if PvP combat current mechanics were adjusted, wouldn't it be appealing to other players, some which like PvM? If there were more rewards / better loot, more resources available for skillers, etc. One last reason I like about RS3 is the current community, which is really nice and mature in general. And it was not always as it is now, because all those ones moved over to OSRS. It just feels like one of the main icons of this game is being left to die. Thank you for your time and welcome to discuss. So here is a sensible person who is asking something genuine. And I love this post because it is someone who's coming back, asking a question about something that he loves.
Yep.
I mean, the first post is, my hope came true. PvP died. Good riddance. Now, PvP is different to PKing. I just want to sort of state that. I have no issue with PvP where, you're in a sort of a fair fight. But anyway, I'm going to let you. You're sort of more. You know more about this than I do because I joined the game sort of as it was dying off. So
yeah, I completely agree with this guy. And the way he's talking about it, like it is to me an important part of the game, and I would like to see them bring it back. I think they've made misguided attempts in the past to revive it basically as is, whereas I think the way they really should do it, as if, we talked about this in depth on the podcast before, but is make the wilderness a safe death, but make you drop GP on death, and that would go a super long way into bringing it back. And the other thing they need to do is actually balance EOC for PvP, because right now EOC, like the reason people mostly legacy PK, or not even mostly people, the reason that legacy PvP is slightly more popular is because it's more balanced. Like in EOC PvP, like you can wreck somebody so damn quick that there's no fight. And you need that back and forth long fight to make PvP interesting. That's like the primary reason that old school PvP is like it is kind of popular in that game. But so in old school PvP is popular, but the wilderness is still dead. There's like PvP only worlds that people play on, but they don't like spend time in the wilderness in the main, in the main servers basically. But yeah, so I think that rebalancing it in such a way that it, that EOC isn't broken in the wilderness, and making the wilderness a safe death, so it's more of a competition. And like you said, you don't like being PK'd, but if you could defend yourself, then it would be different. Like if you could wear your T90 armor out there and stand a chance in a fight, it would be different. But right now, you're not going to risk that because it's too much freaking money. But if you're risking, like, if you're wearing your T90 armor and you're risking like 1 mil or 2 mil or something like that, then sure, why you and I make enough GP that we would totally risk that.
Exactly. Yeah. If I went out there and say, as you said, have levels. Your T70s are 500k, your T80s are 1 mil, up to T9. Say T90s are 2.5 mil or something like that. Then I'll happily post that up there and go out there and try and do my runs, and I'd have a lot more fun. And if I'm fighting at my if I'm trying to do the lava strike worms and someone comes up and I'll be wearing decent gear where I can turn around and defend myself against them, great. I'd have no issue if they did that. And maybe, as you said, because of the balancing of the combat out there, and yes, you are going to hear this from me. Maybe you make the wilderness a PvP style legacy only, or maybe you make it where your damage output is only 25% compared to when you're hitting an NPC. Maybe there is some way to do it, but certainly I would never have been bossing until they brought in the death mechanic where I can just go and buy my stuff back, and that's the perfect thing. I really do think that is something that they need to do there.
Yeah, absolutely.
The problem where sorry, yep.
I think we've all kind of forgotten, but I would not be near as good at PVM as I am now if the old death system was still out there. Because the amount of extra anxiety that added to PVM of you are risking so much shit unless you get back to your grave in less than 5 minutes, and what if you DC or anything like that? It was such a big scary time, and that is all gone. Where you die, you spend a few $100K. It's a great money sink, and I've argued it before. But people have argued, people have said that. Sorry, I just lost my complete train of thought. So, scrap what I was saying about people saying. You can take over if you have something else to say.
One he says here about the bounty hunter, more rewards, better loot, more resources available for skillers. I mean, if they put some high level skilling resources out there that are going to make a skiller good GP to take that risk to go out there, great. The problem with more rewards and better loot from these type of things is we see it all the time. People gaming the system, people working out a way to cheat basically to get the quickest way, get it out there and make all their money and things.
And that's why you have to have
the issue you have.
Yeah, that's why you have to have your money come from people who people have made it themselves, right? Because right now, the way you make money in Bounty Hunter is you kill someone else. So the best way to actually do it is to basically pay someone or use an alt to get those matches. But the way I envision it, like I said, you have open world PvP out there. If you're wearing T90 armor, like you said, maybe it's 2.5 mil that you drop on the ground, or maybe it's 2 mil and 500K of that goes to death. That way, there's a money sink as well as making players money. But that way, your money is coming from killing another player who's going to feel motivated to defend themselves. And even like you said, if there was a skilling method in the Wildy that made 5-10 mil an hour, then sure, you could go out there and kill that person. That's kind of what runecrafting does, because runecrafting is a good money maker, and the skull drops and that's an instant 500K. This is kind of a continuation of that kind of idea where add more skilling methods. I'm a skiller out there and I'm wearing my good armor, and I also have 500K worth of resources in my inventory. Make the skull make the skull also work for all the places, so you gather 50% more resources if you're wearing the skull. So therefore killing a player in full T90 with a skull is 3 mil that you can make right there. And people say oh, it would hurt PvP profits, but it really wouldn't, because the way you make money in PvP now is you basically skull trick someone so they drop the one rare item they're carrying. And it's basically just a way to encourage bug abuse. Whereas, if you could consistently make a few $100K off of every single person you were killing in the Wildy, you would make more money than you do now, where on average you make nothing off of a kill unless you basically trick someone out of a weapon. And
that's it. I mean, I have to go out there sometimes and kill the Chaos Elemental for your Reaper task. I go out there in Royal D-Hide and I have a crystal bow with me. And that's it. So basically, you get my boots, my gloves, because I keep everything else and whatever potions I have left in my inventory. So you're making, 15, 20K? Whereas if I'm out there and I'd go out there to get the quicker kills, I'd wear my higher tier gear And okay, if it's going to cost me $1 million to die, so be it. At least I'm there. I'm getting those kills quicker. I'm getting through everything quicker, and yeah, it's. I know exactly what I'm risking.
Yep. Exactly.
And there's no, as you said, no skull tricking.
Yeah. Like right now, I will never take a valuable item into the wildy. Well, no. I do it to the abyss. That's as far as I'll go. You know, if I wanted to go for, I did that when I was getting some 99s in combat. I would run to the abyss, but even that was terrifying because it's like, you know, I'm wearing like full perked armor and I have like a T90 weapon, and like, what if someone skull tricks me? But yeah, like remove the anxiety that comes from taking valuable items into the wildy, and people will make more money in general in the wildy. Like, in the world I see it in, like, skillers would be out there more often. There would be way more money-making potential than what there is.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And you'll also have that way, I mean, and then PKing is, you can sort of understand PKing again, rather than just trolling someone because you want to kill them. Okay, I'm going out there hunting them to kill them because I want that $1 million drop or the 500k drop, whatever it is. And you're understanding, okay, well, that's why he's doing it, rather than when I'm just sitting there, okay, he's killing me, he's going to get a royal D-hide, bottom, gloves and boots type thing. So, but yeah, it's, and everyone's got to have their right to enjoy the game the way they like it. And if you enjoy PvP, then good for you. That's you shouldn't have to suffer.
Yeah.
But again, we shouldn't have to have that anxiety, and especially when they have tasks and things that force you out there, when you don't like that type of thing. And that sort of, when I was hunting for that lava strikeworm soul, I almost quit the game because I finally got the soul and then got PK'd for it.
Yeah.
And I'm telling the guy, look at what I'm wearing. And I said, I will give you 10 million GP. And they just laughed and just kept killing me,
Yeah, they probably thought you were trying to hide some valuable item because there's no way to, like, argue with people like that. But yeah, I mean, like, and honestly, like, that earlier post, the one that said RS will die without PvP, kind of referenced, I think that was the one that referenced World of Warcraft. Which, yes, some of my favorite memories in WoW are the open world PvP in that game, and like, you go to certain zones in that game, and it's heavily contested. Or even right now in World of Warcraft, if you want to get best XP in the game, I think you get like 15% more XP on your character if you have PvP toggled on. So yeah, like, that's how that game works. And sure, you die in that game and you have to run back to your corpses. It's a different type of death system, but it works way more. It makes it way more fun. It's an aspect of the game that more people would experience if they would just balance it properly.
And there you go. There's another thing that they could possibly do out there, is have a PvP on or off toggle. So if you go to Lava Strikeworms, you have it turned off, you're going to get a quarter of the drops that you would get. So Searing Ashes, instead of being every drop, you might get 1 in 4 that drop that. So you can still get your kill count up, but you don't have that stress. But if you have your PvP on, you have that risk where you're going to drop that 500k or whatever it is, but you're going to make that loot quicker too. So risk reward. If you have your skilling things out there, it's a lot slower if you have PvP toggled off. But if you have it toggled on, remember, were you around for the World Event 2?
Nope, I was only around for the last World Event. I wasn't even playing at the time, unfortunately.
Okay. World Event 2 was awesome. You had PvP on or off when you were doing it. When you had it on, you made, I think it was double or triple the XP, triple the resources, triple everything. Don't quote me on the exact numbers, but it was a lot more. You did it a hell of a lot faster than when you did it when you had PvP off. But it was awesome because, bang, I want to get this done really quick, I'll turn it on. I don't. And what I would do if it was a quiet time, I'd just flick it on, and you'd have maybe 1 or 2 people coming over. When it got really busy and there were like groups of people running around all the time, then just flick it off and go the slower way. But it made it fairer, and maybe that's the type of thing that they need to.
There's definitely room for that. Like, I mean, if you nerfed, if you made it powerful enough to having PvP on was like. Yeah. Like you said, like, if you do the herb patch in the wildy with PvP off, you get like 75% less herbs or something. Yeah. So sure, you can use that patch, but you're gonna get nothing for it. Then most people would just leave it on and people who can't be asked to deal with it would have an option. That is definitely a potentiality.
So you have it off. You will only get 4
Yeah.
herbs out there. But if you have it on and you've got your outfits and all that set and everything, you can get like I was out there, I got 21 herbs out there yesterday from that patch.
Yeah.
Killer
Bunny saying
that, so.
The Deathless in Edgeville ability recently 500k, 100k, 3k, 78k, 660k, 6k, 60k. So most of them not even above 100k. I imagine the ones that are above 100k, most of them are probably from the skull that drops out there. So yeah, with
the 500k you get for the skull. That's it.
So it's not super profitable. Like we said, skull trickers can get lucky and make some GP, but that's not how. That's what makes you not want to go into the wildy.
Yeah.
Whereas if you made it a place where you were actually felt like you could compete, it would be a completely different story, and it would be interesting.
And that may be one way to revive PvP for that community who wants to do it, and maybe draw them. I mean, maybe then I will go out there and try a bit of PvP. Go and challenge someone.
Sure, I mean, if you could make like 10 mil an hour in the wildy killing people, you might actually go and do it because it's a completely different experience when you're fighting something that's not a boss. You know what it's going to do. You know what's coming. It's predictable. Another player is not predictable. Like that's where PvP is fun. That's where people get their interest from, is the fact that it's not predictable.
And imagine, mate, then they can design some niche weapons that you can smith and all that type of stuff to take out there that are gonna drag your opponent in, push your opponent away, that type of thing.
Yeah.
There's just so many things that they could do if they did that properly. And that's as I said, I'm not a PvPer. Take what I say with a grain of salt, but I would certainly spend time in the wilderness if I knew exactly what my risk was, what was happening, and I had a fair chance against people. I mean, as I said, I run out there with nothing, so that when they kill me, they basically get nothing, and I've just got no chance. They run out there with their T90s, and I'm sitting there in a T60 with a T70 bow. It's like, I've got no hope at all, and you just got to sit there and take it. Sometimes you can run away and get to something, and if you get down to level 30 with the wilderness sword and Edgeville teleport, or maybe you can get to one of those little when you're doing the tree or the chaos elemental, that teleporter thing up there. You can get there, but yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Also, another quick thing that's completely off subject. Bunny, 15 minutes ago, gave me a rabbit with the name Hannah, and it had the lucky and good perks on it, so that was kind of funny.
Very nice. I love the rabbits. Did you ever read the book Watership Down?
I know the name, but I don't think so.
Okay, yeah, it's a book by Richard Adams, and I loved it when I was a kid. A lot of the rabbits' names from there, and a lot of references are to that book. So again, I wanted to give Raven a shout out for that too.
Oh, the lore. Not the lore, the puns and the jokes and all that stuff at PlayerUnknown's, it's so good. The flavor text, that's the word I was looking for. The flavor text is so well done. I also love, so there's a chance. So obviously, you're supposed to put a male and female of each species into a pen to get them to breed. But if you put two animals of the same sex in a pen, they have a lesser chance, but they have a chance to adopt a baby animal.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah, so really cool, small stuff like that. That's it's such a whimsical idea. I love the whimsy that this update really puts in the game. That we play RuneScape because it's so whimsical, and PlayerUnknown's delivers on that times 1,000.
I got ripped off because I thought putting 1 male and 3 female rabbits in, hey, that's what rabbits do. But no, only 1 pair will breed.
Pern over here having rabbit orgies.
Yeah. Hey, that's what rabbits do in real life. We'll put 1 male in with 3 females. All 3 will wind up pregnant.
Oh, apparently adopting a yak is actually an achievement to unlock as well. So that's cool.
Oh, okay.
I really like that. It's a
No, that's good.
Cool small update, and I mean, like,
I don't I go?
Yeah, it's just a cool small, and I mean, like, like I'm sure this. I mean, who cares if you piss off some homophobic person out there?
Who cares?
But like, yeah.
They deserve to be pissed off if that happens.
They do deserve to be pissed off, but I was just gonna, like, people like to act like that kind of stuff doesn't happen in nature, but it actually does if you actually look into it, because that's just how like things work.
They've actually, there's a lot of things with rats, gay rats and things like that. It's we did a big thing at school with it and such. So it happens in nature. It's part of nature. It's just part of normal life.
Yep. All right.
So that's it. No, I just wanted to say as well, I did actually get the Ravensworn title on one of my rabbits. So that was one of the achievements I unlocked.
Parrots are super gay as well, Mage Bit is saying.
Yeah.
In chat. Yeah.
Oh, hello, Mage. Are you in chat?
He's in Twitch chat.
Yeah. Hope you're feeling a bit better.
All right. Well, we have one
last topic. And this says, fake news, just says, what was the best update of the year so far? Christelle, of course, who is a bit of an naysayer, says none. Axiomatic says, Clue Scroll overhaul. Blackwing likes RS3, the Temple of Amanishi. And, and then says, if ignoring the lazy copy-paste boss pet. I mean, come on. A lot of things. Why waste resources when you've got something there you can use?
God, so many of these comments are just people being negative. Like, my God.
I know. I'm actually just reading around.
Like, what is the best update of this year so far? None. How can you have no best update? Even if you've hated every update, there's no way they're all equally hated for you. Like, Jesus, people, just have a little bit of joy in life. If you go into things with a positive attitude, you actually enjoy them more. It's a little-known life hack.
Yeah. And that's it. It's one guy says Temple of Amanishi he loved. I thought the second one would have been more popular than that, but Fifi LaRue again. I couldn't think of anything this year. Apart from the announcement of many things of Owen Treasure Hunter and a few regurgitated things like Spring Fair, there wasn't anything much. Solak, not into bossing. Fishing, got 99 and it got nerfed anyway. Depressing. Well, hang on. You've just had the farming update. Absolutely brilliant. You had a couple of quests. Brilliant. The fishing update. I mean, your 99 fishing, okay, so go for 120. It was a great update.
The thieving update, the woodcutting update.
Yeah, exactly.
The Guthix. I forgot about the Guthix lore update.
Yeah, the Guthix lore update. I mean, there were so many things that were great this year.
People's opinion, it still amazes me. Like, I just want to go back to like 4 months ago when people were like, oh my God, 2018, like the best year ever. It wasn't even 4, it was like 3 months ago. And then it's just like there's 1 month where there's not a major update, and oh man, the game's over again. I can't believe this.
Yeah. And that's what frustrates me, because July, well, we were supposed to have gotten Elite Dungeons 2 in July, and they had to push it back. So technically in July we didn't get a real update. But August you got the one. This month you got the one. You've got one major update, which is, tell me any other game that gives you a good update, like a full dungeon to run with a full amount of rewards and bosses to fight and titles to get and pets to get and lore to find. Yeah, the farms with all the stuff there. I mean, if you have one decent update a month and the rest are just patches, and as we said, the little clan updates and things like that, they've succeeded in my eyes for that month.
Yeah.
Got to remember, this isn't a game like old school where you have shitty graphics which take the guys 25 minutes to whip together. I mean, the graphics you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're being hyperbolic, but yeah, absolutely.
You compare the two graphics, it's chalk and cheese.
Yeah, it takes a lot more effort to make updates in this game. Not only that, like JX has spent like the past 3 years basically navigating all of its old tool set over to more modern tools in this game to kind of get themselves away from Java and away from using non-industry standard tools, and all that stuff takes time and it's gonna slow down updates, and like, but it has a payoff at the end. But unfortunately, like, Jagex can't talk like that because like a player is never going to listen to that. Like I said, probably even on the last show I said this, like, I think the best thing for RuneScape, like, I think RuneScape would be so much better off theoretically if they could not release an update for the next year and literally just focus on quality of life updates, reworking content, modernizing everything. But I know that would literally kill the game if they did, because people would not be happy that there were no updates. Like, and even like expansions. Like, I think expansions would have been great, but people do not want to wait 6 months, 3 months for a major update release in this game. We are way too used to getting like big updates every month or two, and it, like, in some ways, it isn't good for the health of the game.
Every week, because they don't sort of they forget last week. I'm just going to go to Mod Meadows posted the patch notes on the 10th of the 9th, and there is a ton of patch notes there. It was a long one, and as I said, Mage should have my patch notes audio version up on the RuneScape weekly podcast site, so head over and grab those if you want. But the very first quote here I want to read is from Blackwing. Nice patches you've got there. Shame there's no actual game update this week, though. An update isn't complete without one.
Yeah, well, it is a game update, first of all.
Yeah. And, I mean, they gave us the rune scores, but, I mean, it's, I just don't understand.
They can't even go a week without getting shit for no update.
You got a farm update, which I've been playing every day, and I haven't unlocked everything, and I'm focusing on trying to get things unlocked. So I'm 2 weeks into it, and I've still got plenty of gameplay left there that's going to do me for the entire month.
Yep, I've barely even started with it.
I want the next one. 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 It's people have just gotten. They've just gotten so precious and so entitled all the time.
I don't think it's a major development. I mean, like, I think it's always been a thing, and especially like, it's weird because it all depends on how you're perceived. Like, I don't think there's any like reality to it, but like, if you're seen in a negative light, you're basically held to a higher standard. Like, I saw this with like PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds was a super popular BR. It still is. It's actually like the most popular game on Steam. It's the first Steam game to have over 1 million players concurrent for over a year at this point. But last year at this time, that game was like the darling child of gaming, and everyone was talking about it. And then like, Fortnite came around, and the game lost a little bit of popularity, but honestly not a ton to what it could have. It's no longer growing at the rate it did because, it's not the new hot thing anymore. And now you look at that community, and they're just angry about literally everything. It's like nothing changed in the game. The game has gotten better since last year at this time. It's not worse, but the perception has changed, and so now people are negative about it. And it's like, living a positive life and being, positive about things, generally you'll have more fun. And sure, there are things to criticize company about, and like this podcast generally takes us to task when there's like legitimate criticism. We spent, a big part of the show criticizing where the Mine and Smithing update is headed, but we're not doomsayers, right? Like saying like the end is near and like all that shit, because like you don't need to take it that far. You like we read that post earlier where someone was complaining about how was it the RS will die post that JMods responded to?
Yes, yeah. The RS, the one where they were about. No, they were whinging about the farming update, about it being, too much daily scape and things like that.
Oh, right, yeah. And the JMods replied, like, that's not how you actually get a reaction. Like if then some people are like, like the way you get things fixed, like, Invention got fixed because we complained about it. And like, no, that's not why it got fixed.
No.
Like, we could have complained. Well, sure, complaining, maybe that's the word you want to use. But we could have given them constructive complaining instead of being assholes about it, and we could have gotten the same thing done. You don't have to be a dick to the people making your video game to get them to like respond to you. You can act like a freaking civilized person and still get something done.
Exactly right. But yeah, people just don't. I don't know. They just don't seem to understand that.
Yep, they don't. Yeah. See, someone is posting that on every game update. I am at this point thinking this isn't a random event by a player, but more of a meme type of thing people are doing. I mean, maybe I don't know if Mimi is the right description. That's Killer Bunny in the chat saying that. I mean, yeah, like I said, I just think people like it's basically like the mob mentality, right? Like it's just people like to mob onto something. So whether it's positive or negative, whatever like the mob mentality is at the time, like people are going to focus on that. So if people are like if people are thinking if the at the time, if the zeitgeist is this thing is good, then that's all you'll see. But the second, it only becomes average, or this thing's been out for years. Like, like we've said, like RuneScape is a 17-year-old game, so now people who are left are just like the freaking complainers. But if this was like 2005, people would be happy as hell for the most part. But
yeah.
And I don't think the difference is quality of updates. Like, sure, there are some bad updates, but there were bad updates in 2005 too, and it's just expectations are not at a healthy place, and people have an entitlement to think that they deserve more than what they do. Like, like especially in gaming, like everyone thinks they're an armchair developer who knows enough about development to like make something. And it's like, okay, if you actually knew enough, you would be making a game instead of telling Jagex how to make their game. But you don't, exactly. So you're playing their game.
Exactly. But yes.
What was your favorite update of the year so far? We didn't say this.
Well, really, I'd have to say the farming. I would have. I mean, I love the Clue Scrolls update. That was my favorite, the You Are Written Clue Scroll update. But this farm has had me. It's really had me locked in for the past week and a half. Absolutely loved it. So I'm going to give this the thumbs up.
Yeah, and I spoiled mine earlier in the show too. I think it's Player-Owned Farms for me as well. I think it's the best. Like I said, beginning top of the show, I think it's the best ceiling update we've probably seen since construction. It's super in depth. It has a lot of nuance to it. There's a lot to figure out, and I'm really happy to see an update like that. And it's not, there's money making potential, not just from the, the getting unchecked dragon drops or stuff like that. Which sure, that's I've made a lot of money, but even if you're just raising things on the farm, you get a super rare perked creature. Like from what I've heard, I think the best way to get super rare perks is to raise them yourself. It seems like to have like a higher percentage to get multiple perks and good perks. You get a super rare perked creature, you can sell that for a good amount of GP and make some real money. And that's super cool. I don't know how long this update will make GP, but if they keep constantly adding things to it, I think it could, this could become another way to make money in the game for skillers, which is awesome. That's something that I have, harped on for a long time. And in this update, they found a way to have a closed game economy currency, which I generally hate. But in this update, it works because sure, you have a closed in-game economy for unlocks, but then you can make money off the stuff that you unlock, or just off the stuff that you earn in the farm, right? So that like it's a perfect balance of there's a closed economy aspect and there's an open economy aspect, and it all plays really well together to create this near perfect update.
Yep.
And yeah, I think for me, other than that, it would probably be the thieving update. Was probably my second favorite of the year so far.
See, that one. That would be probably my worst for the year, the thieving one, because it doesn't enhance or it doesn't supplement the skill. It replaces training methods, and that's I like things where they're sort of like this. As I said, it supplements it. It's not a replacement of the farming skill. It goes hand in hand, works along with it. The same as the deep sea fishing. I mean, it worked along with what was already there. Whereas basically your safe cracking, if you're going to do high intensity, once you hit 62, you just go straight to safes. And if you're doing AFK, you basically do your your elves. It sort of killed off pretty much all the other training.
All right. Well, if you're gonna poop on my second favorite, then I'll poop on yours. I think that the clue scroll update broke clue scrolls. I think giving people 25 clues has broken the value of so many items.
A lot of things it did. Oh, and I totally agree there. That's and that sort of is probably why this one's overtaken clue scrolls in that. I mean, I love my clue scrolls and that, but I haven't done any clue scrolls in probably a month because everything now is pretty much worthless unless you get lucky on those other things, because they did ruin it with that. So you're not gonna get an argument from me there.
They should have kept it at 1 clue, maybe increased it to 2. But
I probably would have said 5, just so I can. Because I mean, I would generally like to go and do 4 or 5 on a day.
The thing is, you can't. The reason I don't think 5 is because that's still enough that like you won't feel motivated to have to do them if you get a drop. And like what clues used to be is if you got a clue scroll drop, you had to do this mental map. Okay, do I want to do this clue now or do I want to wait and finish out my Slayer task, whatever? Whereas now it's like, oh, another clue, and it like that's one of the biggest reasons I dislike the update. And I think some people have blamed the fact, like I saw someone on some YouTube video where they blamed the crashing clue scroll items on that duping bug that was out when clue scrolls first came out, and I really don't think that's the truth. I really think it simply comes down to how many clues you can have at once just means that way more people are going to do them. And I didn't like the change at the time, and it's definitely turned out to be a change that has hurt the value of things. And I mean, even dyes are way down. Like everything is way down because you can just stock up on like 70. Well, if you do hard elites and whatever the super hard ones are, get 25 each of those and then go off on a run.
That's 100. Yep.
Yeah,
and that's you saw the video series I did, and that didn't take me that long to do. Whereas if I was doing that the old way, that would have taken months and months to get done. But I did each one in basically a week.
I know that Pern will probably agree with you, Bunny, but I do not. Alt 1 has been around before. Before this update, and it did not have the effect that it did. Like, sure, people can do clues quicker because of it, but Alt 1's been out for years, and clue scrolls retain their value. Like
the problem was the problem is the amount of clues you can bank now. 25 of each, and then just go into a whole run of. It does hurt with so many things coming, and also the fact that they have not brought out those new Onyx jewelry that they were going to still haven't come into game.
Yeah, but I mean, even when that does come out, like I don't think it's gonna, like there's so many items coming out.
Well, no, because because there's so many items there now that that's what I've been doing with all mine. I've just been keeping them all and banking them, because it's like, well, why am I going to sell them for 250k when I want that? I'll just break them all down myself now. Whereas before, when they were 600 and 700k, it was worth it.
Yeah. Testic saying the thieving update was good, as could have been without needing to rewrite the skill. I mean, I agree with you. I'm definitely not. I mean, I can understand Pern's frustration with the thieving update, but I think like it was very much like it was needed. It needed that drastic of a change, but like sure, it would be nice if they would balance other methods post update,
and that's more my thing. It's more that they should now balance the older methods to give something that's a decent money maker, but it's more intensive. And you can say these are intensive, but it's not as intensive as going to your dwarf traders and things like that. And I just think I just like, and that's what I love about the farm, just the variety of different things that you can do, and it's.
Yeah, you're never gonna catch me objecting to having skilling make more money. So like, sure, I can understand that. I mean, I think it all comes into like scope of updates and like I don't know, like thieving pre thieving pre that update was one of the worst skills to train. It was super unhealthy. How efficient you to train that skill efficiently was super unhealthy. It was just a click fest, and you get a dwarf trader stuck in a corner, and then you get RSI by clicking as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And it was something that needed a drastic change. And I totally agree that it would be better if they could balance out the dwarf traders make 5 mil an hour or something like that along with the XP, but. Yeah, I think in general, like I said,
Plunder, just do some rewards, better rewards in there.
Yeah,
I didn't mind Pyramid Plunder, but I couldn't do more than an hour at a time.
I wish Jagex had more time to do things like reworking older content. But the problem is,
that's the hard thing.
It looks like less of an update to people. Like we talk about like these patch weeks with giant patch notes and like major changes, and everyone's like, "Oh, not a real update." And like that's the problem they have when they do reworks. Is like people treat it like not a real update, where it's like we have a 17-year-old game, we need to focus on this older content. But then if they do, like you and I will love it, but then the community at large will bitch about it, and so they have to find a balance there. And I definitely don't envy what they have to do there to try to figure out, can we actually do this update, or will it get us too much shit if we do this? Like I said, like Menaphos last year is probably my favorite update of 2017 is Menaphos. I think it's one of the most important updates that's ever happened to the game in the past 15 years. It's extremely important, and it's hated in the community. And there are some valid reasons to dislike it, but all those reasons miss the major importance of giving a new low-level hub city that is the best-looking area in the entire freaking game. And sure, it sucked to have to get your comp cape back, but the fucking comp's supposed to be work. Stop complaining and just do it. And all that stuff.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I didn't hate Menaphos. I enjoyed Menaphos. My only issues were, sort of breaking a quest into, as I said, and I know you disagree with what I said about breaking that quest up, but it just felt like one medium-sized quest broken into 4 parts and then locking it behind that system and also the rewards from getting up in your tiers.
The rewards definitely should have been better. That's the one thing that I would agree with.
It just felt like it felt like just a rework of a treasure hunter reward to me.
I mean, and I think some of that comes from not having played, like, I hear that from people like you and other people, and it's like I've played like World of Warcraft and stuff, so like I'm used to like reputation systems like that, and I don't see. Yeah. I mean, I can see the similarity that you're talking about, but I'm just so used to it in other MMOs that I don't think it's like I don't think that's where it comes from. But like I can see the similarities, but I think it.
But if you looked at those rewards that they had, and then you looked at one of those those currency events. It just, to me, it was just, an outfit, an XP lamp, boots, and at the end of get to tier 10 and you get a pet. And that's exactly what
I mean, to me, what it should have been is like tier 10 should have doubled the amount of XP and GP that you get from.
Which is what they're doing now. Or not actually, they're doing it through the quest. Each quest you do actually increases what you get in your.
Yeah, but I was going to say Shifting Tombs. Like, I would have made Shifting Tombs a major part of that system, because right now Shifting Tombs isn't done, and it's not because it's not good content. It's because the XP sucks and the GP sucks. And if they would have had like a tier 10, or hell, even like if I had to max every single faction rep in Menaphos to make double XP and GP and Shifting Tombs, I would do that in a heartbeat. Yes, it would take me hundreds of hours, but that would make that a viable update that I love, and I don't do very often because it's hard to find people to do it with, and it's not super great XP. And yes, I spent half this podcast complaining about people being too efficient, which I myself have issues with. And yeah, Killer Bunny says XP boosters for Shifting Tombs are in Elite Dungeons too. I don't know, maybe those XP boosters help some, but I still think the base XP in Shifting Tombs and the base GP should have been better.
The GP definitely, and when they originally talked about it, running in, raiding it type thing, getting resources, but you've got to get out in time or you lose everything. Yeah. money is great. The way they described it, I thought you were running in trying to find like a plot of herbs that, you know, you're going to get a bunch of herbs or things like that and do it that way. But the GP, okay, they want to replace with GP, but just the way it was done, and there's just not enough. As you said, I just don't think there's enough GP reward for people there.
Yeah, Killer Bunny saying 96.99 agility and runecraft in the Shifty Tombs, and I was so happy with that update. Yeah, I mean, it definitely has its place. I just think it should have a great, like, I think there's more potential there than what they've given it, and I wish they would add to it. Like, yeah, once again, another update that like comes out and then doesn't get added to, and this is the big problem Jagex has with a lot of updates. They create these updates and these systems that they could easily keep plugging into. Like, sure, maybe when Shifting Tombs first came out, it should have been where it is, and maybe they should have added like a new quest that's a Grandmaster quest that, you know, like they need to finish off the Desert series still, you know, like the Metaphos quests end on like a giant cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And like, okay, well then bring out the next quest in that series that is a Grandmaster quest and have that unlock more GP or XP at Shifting Tombs. Do something to continue that update. Also have that quest include a reward that adds like some kind of skilling mini boss to the Shifting Tombs that, you know, adds more diversity to what you're doing down there.
Yep.
Yeah, adding to that stuff would be great, and they never. I mean, they did do a little bit back in June, the 1 year anniversary of Metaphos. They did some like quality of life.
They did a little bit, but I don't think they did enough.
Yeah, not enough, but they're getting there. Anyways,
yeah. But that's it.
We've been going for almost 3 hours now. I think it's.
Oh Jesus! It's 4:15.
Our man went to bed like an hour ago, and we only had like 3 topics left or something like that.
Well, it's good because we are both talkers, so
we are.
Imagine if Mage was here as well; it'd be like 6 a.m.
All right, and I'm losing my voice.
Yep.
And I didn't even read topics that I'm losing my voice. That's ridiculous. That will do it for this week's show. You can find my personal Twitch at Queen of Blaze if you want to watch me stream. I stream. Right now it's probably like once a week that I'm streaming, but sometimes I get more of those streams in. I'm doing a lot right now and trying to find a job that pays me money and stuff like that. So yeah, you can come watch my Twitch, or you can come give me a job if you want, you know, have a job offer for me. Anyways, yeah, Queen of Blaze on Twitch. You can check out RuneScape Weekly on Twitch at MageBit if you want to. If you're not watching, if you never watch our Twitch channel, we generally live stream the podcast there, and some other streams happen. You can rate and review the show on iTunes. You can check out us on Twitter at RS Weekly, on Facebook at RS Weekly, runescape.chat for our Discord, where we talk about RuneScape and have heated debates about updates and about Fortic auto-attacking and all that kind of stuff. And thank you very much for listening. And you got anything you want to plug, Pern?
No, just as I said, always look out for the patch notes. I try and get them out to Mage every Wednesday, but yeah, I do the audio and put it up on my one and then forget to send it to him sometimes. But I'll try and remember always have that up there so you can get your patch notes. If you can't get over to my YouTube channel, you can always get on RuneScape Weekly. Look out next week. Sorry?
What's your YouTube channel?
Pernassius RS.
There we go.
That's PYRNASSIUS for people who don't know how to spell Pernassius. It is a bit of a funny one. But yeah, head out there. I will be doing a Pern's point of view this week, just on the farming update, and just go in depth with all my thoughts and such, and a few little suggestions I could make. But I mean, as I said, it's a really good update as it is. And I am hoping. It is school holidays in 2 weeks' time, but once we get through that, I am hoping to start live streaming myself again. So that'll be over on Twitch, also at Pernassius RS, where it'll just be, I mean, I don't do high-level bossing or anything, but it'll just be sitting back talking about RuneScape and, just doing things like chasing my titles. I am after all the God of War's titles and such, and farming titles and everything, and the pets. So just doing bits and pieces.
Yeah, I think all of our channels that I've seen, you, me, and MageBit, generally we're generally chill streamers. We talk to the chat a lot, and we, I mean, like I'm probably the one who does bossing the most, but I don't do like hard. I don't try hard bossing. So yeah, if you want a chill place to, you're playing RuneScape, you want a chill place to talk to, give Fern a follow on those places. He makes good YouTube videos, and yeah, that's gonna do it for this week's show. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, just one other thing. If there is anything that you want me to talk about, if you have a discussion topic out there you want to get to me, ask Pern, ASKPYRN @gmail.com. Shoot me a line. Just say, hey, have a discussion on this. What do you think about this? If there's something that you've seen on Reddit that you want me to go about, throw it at me, and I can always talk about those when I do the streams.
Yeah, and also I forgot to mention, but you can support the podcast at patreon.com/RuneScape. Support RuneScape Weekly there. All the money people give us there is much appreciated. I don't have a current list of our donors, so thank you to everyone who is supporting us there. And we will catch you all hopefully next week. Happy scaping, everybody.
Bye-bye.